Hello everybody and welcome back to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will, I'm a D&D sex icon, and we're back today for another episode of Zweihander, Blackhearts, and we're back with almost a full cast and crew, all except from Emmett, who'll be back with us next week. He's playing Tomb, of course. Tomb would skulk off into the woods somewhere, I'm sure, but be back to blow stuff up next week. But let's go around and meet the full cast and crew and remind ourselves of who we are and who we're playing. We have Kimmy with us today. Kimmy, how's it going?
Hi, going well, thanks. What was that introduction that you did? D&D sex icon? Was that the title that you gave yourself?
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to come up with a good one for the outro. But for now, I'm just Miss Kimmy D, Miss Kimmy D 85 on Twitter, and I play Danny, who is a human fop. So she's just kind of a fun party girl. She does not belong in this world. This is a terrible, terrible place for her.
Fantastic. And we have Speedy back with us tonight. Speedy, how's it going, my friend?
Hello. It's going great. Happy to be here. I'm Speedy. You can find me everywhere as Not So Speedruns, and I am, of course, reprising my role as Charlie Barber, your friendly local barber surgeon, who's quick with a blade and a leech and whatever else you might need to cure what ails you, unless it's the plague, in which case you die.
Absolutely. And we have Lydia back with us tonight. Lydia, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm Lydia, CastleMac Lydia on Twitter. I am playing Polaris, who is an elven astrologer who knows a lot about astrology.
Like a lot.
A lot. Like I'm not reading about it right now.
Amazing. And we have Ruben back with us tonight. Ruben, how's it going, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm MoxRuby, MoxReuby on all the social media channels underneath the eye patch here, because Nick has a fake eye patch because I rolled that on the random table. He's just got this little foible. Yeah, I'm excited to get going again as Nick Rattenberry, the human Bravo. So, quick with a blade, quicker with his tongue, would rather be in a fight of words than an actual fight, but can fend for himself with a sharpened stick.
Fantastic. Amazing. And we have Doxy back with us tonight. Welcome back, Doxy. How's it going?
It's going. How are you, William?
I'm good. I'm in the world's echoiest chamber box today, so
Yeah,
I'm sorry
you're
for
a little
everyone who's
echoey.
having to listen to me while we clear out all furniture from this house.
Oh, we're all sorry. We have to listen to you too, Will. I'm Doxy. And I'm just kidding. I was kidding, Will. I didn't mean that. That was really mean. I'm just channeling
Off this
Persephone. She's 10% witch and 90% bitch. We're here to rock. Let's do it.
Love it.
that's my favorite intro now. Oh, amazing. 10%, 90% bitch. Fantastic. Well, Jesus, before we get started, I'll remind you guys who are in the chat watching on YouTube that you can come watch us live here every Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern, as we start live streaming some of Zweihander. Come along and join us for the live show. And of course, you need to check out Zweihander if you haven't already yet. It's no longer on Drive-Thru-RPG. You can check out all the pre-orders are now on Amazon. If you already have a digital copy of Zweihander, you're actually going to be getting the revised edition tonight, Friday the 25th of January 2019, by email. So get those emails, check in your desk tray every second or so. Also, you can now pre-order Zweihander in US, Canada, Germany, and Japan on Amazon. Italy, Australia, and other countries are coming soon, which is just like, that's just so fucking cool. Wow. And you can also grab it at Barnes & Noble now, which is a whole thing in America. Even I know about Barnes & Noble. That's fucking awesome. So if you go to grimandperilous.com, you'll be able to check out Zweihander itself. It's a fantastic game, D100 system, dark fantasy, grittiness, and you can check out a quick review that I did of it up on youtube.com/encounter roleplay if you want to get my thoughts on the game in a bit more detail. Other than that, of course, we're sponsored here today by fantasygrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice, so go ahead and check those guys out. All the maps and tokens that I've prepared for today are on Fantasy Grounds. You can download it for free via Steam or their website. And wellinggames.co.uk is the go-to destination for tabletop, board games, war games, and more at up to 20% off the retail value. And last but not least, tabletoploot.com is the only place to go to get all of your beautiful dice that you need to be rolling, or at least coveting in some form like a dragon. And when we get 20 retweets on this tweet here, you guys will be giving away a set of dice there in the live stream, so go ahead, get retweeting, and we'll make it happen. Last but not least, you can donate to a fellow game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and worse. And I've been told that Zweihander, Guru Imperial Studios will be donating $1 to Extra Life for every critical success or failure donated to the game this whole season. So Extra Life is a fantastic charity. Thank you to Guru Imperial Studios for offering that. So let's get some crits and fails for these guys, as those Zweihander wasn't tricky enough already. But I want to do a quick recap now to remind ourselves of what happened last week on the show. We haven't had a chance to catch up yet. And of course, because Doxy was away last week, we need to let her know what's going on. So the party were traveling through Arkenbury Forest, and that forest is said to have been haunted. Turns out it may well have been, at least tonight, as Olaf, one of the Blackhearts, had fallen ill with the blood plague, and they had Charlie had sort of put him out of his misery before things got all too worse. While they went out to burn the body, the rest of the camp was attacked by strange humanoid creatures with masks that seemed to have been sewn onto their faces, and they were pouring with blood as though their entire bodies had been flayed. They just about managed to destroy them. Nick certainly served himself quite well in that fight, and you guys all really rolled well on your attack rolls. Unfortunately, the Blackhearts did not, and Marie failed every single roll, and the other Blackheart was murdered, and he Wilhelm screamed out of existence. So while these creatures were defeated, the rest of the band rejoined them later that evening. They were met by a crow who called herself the Princess of Red Carnage, and she gave them an offer to protect them from the blood plague in exchange for finding the source of these creatures and the infestation of corruption that had created them, that she said was somewhere within Einem, the city that they're actually traveling to at the moment. Now, she can't go there for some magical reasons. It seems like she may very well be bound to this forest, so she's entreated the aid of these guys to find out what's going on at Einem, and in exchange for her protection from the plague and for the rest of the journey through Arkenbury. So, interesting sort of standoffish confrontation happened in the end. An agreement was made. And the party are headed off to Einem today. So that's sort of where we're going to pick things back up. We're going to say that Persephone has been with the party this time, but she's kept quiet and maybe hidden away in the woods, seeing as she's kind of witchy. She could probably hide in a bush for a little while and no one will notice. So we'll start with... not exactly where we left off. We're going to start with you guys traveling again. So we're going to pick up, maybe it's several hours later after this conversation that you've had with the Princess of Red Carnage, and Marie and Jean, the two remaining Blackhearts, along with Lucas, the younger one, they are very keen to get the hell out of Arkenbury right now because the Princess of Red Carnage kind of super freaked them out. They do not feel comfortable about her whatsoever. So we'll cut to a couple of hours later when you guys are traveling through the woods of Arkenbury again. And it feels like the woods are quieter than they were before. It seems like they were watching you at all times, as though there was something stalking you through them. But there's almost a serenity, a peacefulness about Arkenbury in the daytime, today at least. Perhaps it is the Princess of Red Carnage who's watching over you, or perhaps it's simply that the creatures that were after you, you slew. Nonetheless, I want to pick back up, and I think we had a marching order that we'll sort of stick with for now, which was that I think Nick was in the lead, and I feel like Persephone was in the back with Polaris. So I want to open it up to you guys as you're traveling through. Is there any conversations that you'd like to have this morning? You maybe haven't really had a chance to discuss exactly what was going on with the Princess of Red Carnage, And there is also the matter that Marie may be coming down with the blood plague, although apparently she's protected. So I will open things up to you guys. You're trudging through the woods. Would anyone like to do anything? Free to grab a seat.
How long is it? I know that you probably just said. How long has it been since we've left the Princess Red?
Let's call it about 3 hours. So
3 hours.
Yeah. So it's sort of early morning at this time.
I would probably stay pretty quiet, stay at the back with Charlie and Persephone, but I would also want to, because I was kind of the one instructing everybody to trust this weird crow, and I would want to keep my eye on Marie, right? Is her name?
Yes. Marie Vanderwall, she's from the Blackhearts.
Yeah, how she's doing, and if it seems like she's progressing and getting worse, like the one that the one that died.
Okay. Good idea. Is she gonna follow in the footsteps of Olaf and need to be put out of her misery early? Let's see. Let's have I think it's a medicine. I'm gonna get up. I knew there was another PDF that I should have had up.
What's the name of the city we're going to? I want to say Isengard in my head, and that's not right.
You are taking the hobbits
Einem.
to Isengard.
Yeah.
It's Einem. I'm going to spell it here in
Einem.
the fantasy grounds for you guys. And I'm going to show you the map again for reference, which is the continent of the number map. And so to remind you guys, you're traveling from Ostwald, which is right in the middle on the far right, and you're traveling sort of southwesterly to Einem.
And this is about a 2-week journey, you said?
About a 2-week journey through Arkenbury Woods, yeah. And
we're
you've
about,
traveled
like,
for, I think, 2 days.
Yeah, 2 days, okay.
yeah. So, sorry, Polaris, I don't know if I was clear of you what skill check I wanted you to roll. Heal. It was heal, not medicine. It's an intelligence-based check, and if you have any bonuses in the heal, you get +10 to it.
I don't, but
Okay.
Is there a way, can any of us assist her?
Yes, I think you can.
Because I have
on the rules of
a
assistance.
+1 to my ID. I don't know if
So that wouldn't.
that would help you at all, Polaris.
if I roll a 1 and if I roll a 10 and a 6, is that a 16?
It is a
6.
0-6, so it's just a 6. Yeah.
Then
So
I
10s are zeros.
totally pass.
Super succeed.
Yeah.
Super succeed. Yeah, that's awesome.
I really super succeed.
She looks, on the contrary to the little sort of cough, and then you saw Olaf really degenerate into, like coughing up blood, and then he was slow and sluggish. Marie, on the other hand, looks like she's gone completely the other way. She looks hale and hearty. There's even a little spring to her step. She looks kind of peppy.
Observing that, I think I would kind of like nudge Charlie and be like, Did you look at Marie? She's looking so much better than just a few hours ago.
Yes, it's astonishing, really. I'm surprised to see her recovered so much. Whatever
I
that
had the
crow
sense
did,
that we should trust this crow, and I'm really thinking we've made the right decision.
I suppose so. At the very least, they've given us something we desperately need. Protection. Let's just hope that the task they've given is reasonable.
It's a big task that they've given us. I mean, having protection from the plague is so wonderful, but trying to figure out the root cause of what we've seen in this forest, I don't know.
true.
I've read such mixed things, just the night before I saw such a comforting constellation, and then last night, treachery. I don't know what to think.
Strange and dangerous times, I suppose. No consistency to be found. But at the very least, we know what we're doing. Don't have much choice in the matter. Follow the crow's orders. And maybe, just maybe, that'll help us find a cure. At least that's what I'm looking for.
I agree. Let's just keep moving forward, stay as safe as we can.
We've got work to do.
Persephone, I know you weren't here for the scene last week, but the crow that appeared before you was probably the witchiest thing you could ever see. She was, straight up magic for sure. Also super creepy, had a badass kind of witch name by the sounds of things, You guys have probably got like a witch club where you give each other cool nicknames. She had a good one. How does Persephone feel about this crow having entered into, the scene, into the picture, and given you this sort of task?
Her being what she is makes Persephone feel a little bit more comfortable with her than she would with Nick, Tomb, or Danny. But still, like, just anybody that she hasn't really known for a while she's gonna keep an eye on them, but maybe less of an eye on her than on the others that I just named.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. And thanks so much to the bad boy Grant himself, gives every one of the players a crit success. Thank you so much, Grant.
Yay!
And that right there is
Now we can just bank those when
Absolutely.
we want. Cool.
Yeah, so pretty much how that works is if you have a nat 20, then you can call when you want to use it to definitely have a success on a skill check or an attack roll or whatever it may be. And if you are given a nat 1, then I, as a game master, will call when one of your rolls will be a failure.
Great.
So fun going back and forth there. Okay, that's good to know actually about Persephone. As for her, in terms of like speaking to anyone, is she still keeping herself to herself? Does she approach anyone about the events? How's she behaving?
She will be observing, absorbing as much as she can for a little while before she opens up really to anybody besides Polaris, and she also wants to make Charlie like her because he's a doctor and that is useful.
Right, for sure. Okay. Danny, this was a fairly intimidating scene, I felt like, for Danny last week, seeing the Princess of Red Carnage. And how does she react to it now that she's had a chance to process it a little bit?
So Danny, as we're walking, has her leather journal out just like I do right now. And she's using it, and she's writing an epic poem. She's decided the story of us traveling, and she's gotten as far as the Princess of Red Carnage did approach, a dangerous subject, something brooch. So she's just walking along. She's trying to stay aware of her surroundings, but she's going to what she knows, which is telling a story and pretending that it happened to someone else. And so she's trying not to be aware because she doesn't, want to be attacked at any moment. So she's keeping a lookout, but she's kind of burying herself in her journal as much as possible.
Okay, interesting. And then Nick, how did Nick take this? What's he doing to process it now?
Nick approached this like all variables in his life. He is nonplussed. He took the information, added it to his calculations of how best to survive, and moved on with the result. There's a witch who's protecting us? Great. That sounds like an awesome solution. Any fallout from that is a problem for future Nick to have to deal with. So if the odds of survival are higher, well, then we're moving forward with it. He's a go-with-the-flow kind of guy. He is more aloof and more quiet and to himself than you have seen him thus far, except for perhaps the first night in camp, when we first got to the Blackhearts, right after we left the city. He is not speaking to anyone, including Jean or Marie. He is just at the front of the party, marching on.
Okay. As for their own parts, Marie and Jean stick close together and whisper conspiratorially to one another, occasionally shooting nervous glances around the forests. The Princess of Red Carnage was quite clear that she was interested in you lot and not the Blackhearts at all. They've considered themselves to, it seems like, to not be a part of this deal, and they feel safer for doing so. Although they obviously have been unnerved, both by the attack last night, but also by the Princess of Red Carnage showing up afterwards. So they're sort of on edge. While I feel like Lucas kind of took a shining to Nick. He's younger, and Nick sort of gave him this, talking to in the campfire the other night to sort of buck up and be on his guard. And so I feel like Lucas is keeping in line behind Nick because he feels safe around him. So that being the case of everyone having their ideas, keeping an eye on Marie traveling through the woods, I do want to speed through some of the forest travel a bit here, because you are protected by the Princess of Red Carnage, it would seem, or perhaps fate, luck has intervened. Either way, the nights and days pass by fairly swiftly. It feels like you're making far better progress than you were before. Marie and the rest of you don't seem to fall foul to any kind of plague or sickness while you're here. And it seems like the paths are always clear of forestation and shrubbery. It's very easy going over the next couple of days and weeks as you get closer and closer to Einem. Go ahead.
At one point during one of those nights, I will go to Danny, and may I see your deck of cards?
Sure, but be careful with them. They're the only ones.
Yeah,
I
of
have
course.
with me.
I'll take
I'll
them,
gladly offer them over.
and I'll fan them out and look at them. Traditional deck of cards. Do I recognize the make?
Yeah, traditional, just a standard, like one gold she picked up.
Sure.
There's no trick
So
cards
not
or
not
anything.
particularly fancy. These are like gas station playing cards.
Maybe a little nicer than that. Well, actually, I'm a little fuzzy. They cost a gold, which I spent, and that in this world is actually a
lot.
good chunk, isn't it? So
Sure.
these are nice cards.
Yeah.
So these are nice cards.
Yeah.
You must be quite the gambler to own a set like this yourself.
Yeah. Well, it pays bills sometimes, that or creates more of them, but it keeps people entertained.
I noticed your ledger back at the Wretched Widow seemed like perhaps it wasn't going so well recently.
Well, that didn't have to do with the gambling. Just business was slow. Most of my patrons had fled town to the safety of, I don't know, wherever they thought. And yes, my coffers had grown quite empty and had been for a while.
Yeah, it was tough to get anything going on. back there. I agree with that. Do you get my whole deal? Do you you seem like the only one who would understand what I am and how I go through life. Do you understand what I'm doing?
Yeah, you seem very similar to me.
I think we are.
We do what we need to survive. We're entertaining and can obtain patrons who take care of us. I think that you do things a little differently beyond that point. That's pretty much how I get by in life.
I agree with that. I think that I can help in one specific way, though, which is I weaponize stereotypes. I take people's assumptions about me and use those against them. And you are better able to do that given your visage and your appeal to the greater masses. My whole existence is misdirection. What do you see when you look at me?
Well, after that fight, I see someone who knows how to hold his own, but
before
prior to that, no, you just looked like a guy who was just trying to survive like the rest of us.
Most people see the eye patch and the suit and tie and the bravado, and they see an annoyance, an inconvenience, someone to be avoided, a vagabond, certainly not a threat. And I like it that way. I was not being literal back there with the crow. We all wear masks. Some of us different than others. I put on a show so that I can angle for a specific kind of attention. Because if people knew what I could do, I would get a lot more fights and I would see a lot fewer bedrooms. You understand? And I think that you can, particularly in gambling, can weaponize people's assumptions about you as well. Something I've noticed at the table with women who play cards. You will run into 3 types of men. You'll run into the flirting chauvinist, you'll run into the disrespectful chauvinist, and you'll run into the angry chauvinist. The flirting chauvinist wants to be your friend, wants to make you happy. They'll let you give them your money or their money. Take it however they want. Literally tell them to their faces, you should fold here. Things like that. There's the disrespectful chauvinist, who never wants to lose to someone like you, who thinks that they're better than you. They're very easy to bluff, because they can't afford to lose a big pot to someone who looks like you. And then there's the angry chauvinist, someone who doesn't even think you belong at the table. They're not bluffable. You just have to sit there and wait, and wait, and wait. And they will give you their money. People fall into stereotypes. They are there for a reason. Weaponize them. It also works away from the table.
Well, those were some very useful tips if we ever get out of this godforsaken forest and into a town where there's society again.
And if you're ever sitting at a table with someone who doesn't fall into those 3 categories, they're not a chauvinist. And you probably should find a table with more people who are easy to take money from.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I'll kind of turn and go back to my writing.
Love that conversation. Did anyone jump in on this? I feel like that conversation sort of got loud.
I feel like Persephone would have looked over to Polaris a couple times, and when maybe even made faces and was like, and stuff like that. When Nick looked at Danny and was just like, when you look at me, what do you see? Persephone would have been like a scared little boy who gets lucky hits and stuff like that. Just like she would have been whispering little sassy nothings.
Just into the wind. Whisper sassy nothings into the wind. I love it. Fantastic. So I've given you guys a sort of like a quick sort of speed through, like a fairly easy couple of weeks of travel until you guys get to Einem. Dick and Danny at some point during that week have a conversation. Is there anything else that you guys would like to do while you're in Arkenbury, while you're still traveling with the Blackhearts? You're not sure if they're going to continue with you after you reach Einem. They seem to be growing slightly more distant towards you guys since the Princess of Red Carnage.
I would very like to find a way to restock some of my trappings.
Okay.
If there's shops that are open, not overrun by plague and such.
Once you reach Einem, the belief is that it's one of the last cities which is still good. So presumably there's trade and there's shops there. So you can definitely prepare to get shopping. And while you're in Arkenbury in the forest, it's easy enough to scavenge for herbs, that kind of thing that I imagine Persephone might look to scavenge and rabbit's feet and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would want to definitely be on the lookout for more leeches, stuff like that. Get some more animal fat.
Okay, I'll give you this.
Wicked too.
Yeah, interesting enough, just south of Arkenbury, and I'll give you guys the map of the woods as well. Also, thank you to is it Utilitas?
Nice.
Thank you for that monster attack on the party, and to Fallback, who's given me a critical success. Now, I love the combo there, the wombo combo that you guys are working on.
I'm not feeling it so much. I'm gonna be honest with you.
So if you guys wanted to take a little detour south, you hopefully can see there on a map that it gets to more like marshy territories. So if you're looking to go leech hunting as an activity, or like for a day, you guys wanted to go into the marshes down there, that's probably the best place to do it.
Persephone would absolutely press the party to try.
Yeah, Charlie, I realize, has probably never caught a leech himself in his life. So at the proposal that Persephone is making, would definitely be willing to go along and let her restock leeches. And
she'd be like, "Yes, doctor, I'll teach you. You just stick your fist in there,
She goes into super scary detail about how you go leech hunting. Why don't
I'm completely not disturbed at all. Unaffected.
Why don't the two of you guys roll me? I feel like it's coordination to quickly snatch leeches up. I give you this. You can actually. I'm seeing skills, and the more skills I see, the more I think that these ones are better. I think it's a survival check. It's a perception survival check that I'll let the two of you guys roll. If you have any bonuses in survival, you get +10 to it. Other than that, it's just perception.
Success for me.
All right, 1 second. I have so many PDFs.
Don't worry, I'm always having between PDFs.
I do not have a bonus to survival. Oh no.
Any given moment of any given hour, I'm in some combination of PDFs and Google Docs.
I also literally have no
PDF
idea what dice to roll.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's been a week, so yeah. So you're gonna grab 2 d10s. You can do it in a couple of ways on fantasy ground. You can do /die space 1d100, or you can grab 2 d10s and throw them, like so.
Just throw them across the room,
Roll the 9.
and then you just get whatever.
Damn, you did. Amazing.
Wow.
And Charlie rolled a 14. wow, you guys are like covered in leeches. You just come out and you just walked into this bog and you've scooped them out on your body. Yeah, I want to say that you guys get like 2 or 3 jars of leeches from this expedition
Okay.
out.
I'm taking the 3. You said 2 or 3. I'm taking 3.
Yeah, between the both of you, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, I would keep 2 and give the doctor 1.
Okay,
Sure.
I'll take that.
Okay, cool. Any other activities that you guys would like to do while in the forest? Or while traveling? Or any
I
other
wanna-
conversations like that?
I want to, number one, I want to continue doing like routine checkups of everyone every single night to see how they're doing, make sure they don't have the plague.
Hey,
On the
give
first
me-
night after,
Right.
actually, yeah, I'll do this first.
Yeah, give me a
Okay,
heal
so
check.
heal check.
And we'll give you a plus 20 to it. Too much
Game
interesting.
Master. I don't think I took any damage in that last fight.
I feel like you didn't.
Okay,
You
just checking.
didn't.
'Cause
No one did.
I have
Other
a
than that one,
damage
I bet.
threshold number, but I think that that's just the number I start with.
Correct.
That's correct. Your damage threshold is it's almost like a toughness bonus, I guess.
Right. Yeah,
That's
if I
another
had
one for
obviously if
December.
I had suffered any wounds of any kind, my first help would have been the doctor. But
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can recover by similarly in D&D we can take long and short rests. If you sleep for 6 hours in a safe place, you're no longer unhindered. But if you sleep in an unsafe place, you heal for less, which I really like.
gotcha.
But yeah, Charlie, you inspect every one of the party members each night over the course of these weeks, and everyone is in tip-top condition. Everyone's like healthier than normal, you would say, actually. If any of you would be like prone to sickness, you know, if you've got like weak metabolisms, or you know, you often find yourselves with a cold. Maybe you're not outdoorsy kind of people, so you'd expect to not feel great whenever you go outside, like me. You're feeling, you know, like this is good for you. You're like, ooh, fresh air.
Persephone's fine. Doxy would be dead by now.
I'll sort of pose for Charlie as he's doing these examinations and say, you know, normally I charge for this, but I suppose you're doing me a service as much as I you.
I suppose so.
Perfect, Charlie.
He takes the leech off.
Eye contact while you remove the leech.
Yeah,
Love it.
Charlie's just very awkward about that situation, but just continues with the checkup professionally, and says, "In good shape still. Everyone seems to be."
I know it, thank you. Good night, Charlie.
Good night. One other thing, I'd like to talk to Marie.
Okay.
And I feel like this is a conversation where I would probably have Tomb come along with me as like the resistant to authority type. But I'll go up to her and just say, so you seem to be in great shape. You're not sick, no more coughing, right?
Not since that witch came by, cast a spell on us.
You're lucky she did. You don't seem to have any signs of the plague left. If she hadn't, you'd probably be dead by now.
Maybe what's to say that it wasn't a trick of hers in the first place. She could have put that spell on me to give me plague or a cough.
Perhaps. Still, fact remains, all of us are healthy. Which is good.
Yes. And we are close to Einem, so as soon as we are within the city walls, will have reached our destination and be in safety, at least for a time.
Mind if I ask what you're planning to do when we get there?
Jean and I will find some quarters with Lucas and try and rebuild, see if there are any other Blackhearts in the city. That is all we can do for now, really.
I know that the crow, the red princess, or whatever, she seemed to talk like it was just the 6 of us who were supposed to carry on this task. You weren't meant to be a part of it, but well, it seems like part of the condition of her deal involved you getting healed. Your protection relies on us completing our task.
Maybe, who's to know what that witch really meant? All I know is that we are no longer involved in her. And she kind of looks guilty for a minute. But for all that you and your friends have done for us, and well, if there's anything we can do, I'm sure we will try. You have to understand, though, Jean is a very superstitious man.
Understandable. These are scary times. It's easy to look for explanations.
Especially when one comes into your camp with a great crow mask on and says that she's a witch. But yes, once we're within the city and once we've rebuilt a little, I'm sure if you needed a favor, that we would answer it.
Appreciate that. Well, if you ever need a barber, your man.
There's someone in the city you'll probably want to meet to get set up. He runs a tavern, goes by the name of Mash. He's a good person, someone that you can rely on, as long as you pay your way. Roof over your head.
Cash is thin, but I think we can make do.
Good.
Right,
At least until you're settled with a job in the city, maybe.
Aye. If that is our fate. If this is the last city that's not affected by the plague, I guess I'd rather keep it that way.
Getting in might not be so easy. To prove that we're not infected.
Yeah. Even though we're not, I'm sure they'll have plenty of questions. But I'll make it.
No. It's for tomorrow.
Indeed. Thank you, Marie.
She looks apologetic, but not, she's obviously scared. But she doesn't want to betray Jean, you suspect, by confiding too much more in her fears. So,
Right.
yeah, she'll bunker down for the night. So, any other conversations or scenes that you guys would like to play out before we get to the sort of Einem chapter?
Persephone would ask people to keep an eye out for Black Lotus. I'm sure they're rare, but just to keep an eye out for them, and she would also try to get as much animal fat as she could.
Okay.
Oh, and opium seeds. Look out for opium. That's very valuable.
Keep an eye out. Lotus is another
I'm
marsh
always
plant.
keeping
yeah?
an eye out for opium seeds.
Lotus could be a marsh plant, yeah.
think lotus might be a marsh plant. It's not common, but you know, in case we came across it when we were looking for leeches or something. Poppy, on the other hand, I think we're going to be out of luck in the middle of a forest.
Yeah.
That is true. Yeah. Okay.
The last thing that I would do would be I would have asked Jean what the other Blackheart's name was.
The one who died.
Yeah.
Where is his name? So he was Luke. And
Luke and
he
Lucas?
Was Luke and Lucas.
No, he was Olaf, wasn't he?
Olaf died.
Olaf.
There was another who died in a camp, who died to the creature, and
Right.
he failed his skill check and died. He didn't get named before.
Yeah.
Yep, I'll tell you that his name was Luke, and that he was a friend of Lucas's.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get you guys to the city then. So no longer haunted by the creatures that followed you in the and attacked you in the camp only the other night. You guys make very good travel through Arkenbury Woods, even managing to do some hunting and some leech collecting along the way, until eventually Jean will call out from ahead that he can see something. Breaking clear of the darkness of Arkenbury Forest, you see Einem, an imposing fortress of iron and stone from the outside. It's well positioned on an ancient hill, which has seen many battles. Around 100 years ago, those of you who are scholars or historians may have heard, that it was the site of a rebellion in which the Emperor's forces crushed a band of freedom fighters and peasants underfoot. As such, love for the Emperor here is great, and word against him is in fact punishable by death. Word of the plague appears to have reached the city, and you see soldiers lined along the walls, prepared to turn back any infected. Such times one cannot be too careful. There's a long line of refugees who are lining up at the city gates, some of which are being turned back, others are just waiting in line, and it looks like these people have brought every possible possession that they've managed to salvage and scavenge. Many of these people could be from Ostwald or from further down south where the plague has been rampant. So you guys look out upon Einem. And how would you guys like to approach this situation?
Does it look like they are requesting paperwork of any kind? What is the process for getting into the city?
You'd have to get closer, but you'd suspect that they, at the very least, would want to do an inspection to see if you're infected. So, if you squint hard enough, you'll be able to see that there are like physicians who are giving people quick run-overs and either letting them in or turning them back. Having papers certainly wouldn't be a bad idea in a time like this. You would know that if the city was in a full quarantine, then most likely only people who are healthy and can contribute something to the city are going to be allowed within. So if you have a trade or a skill, or previous employment that would make you useful in Einem, then it's as much an interview as it is an inspection of whether or not you're plague-ridden.
No one else has any plans?
On how to get in?
And
Yeah.
I have
We should
plenty
be
of
fine.
papers.
Let's have the plague.
Oh, you have.
I've
Does everybody
dropped-
have papers? Are these things we have?
You tell me, really. Would you carry
I
any
mean-
kind of documentation on you? Would you have a record? Or and the question is, would you have brought it to the Wretched Widow's Inn that night?
Right.
And would you have escaped with it?
Persephone absolutely would not have documentation of who she is on her.
On the contrary, I think that Polaris would. She would have like her document like certifying her to be a mage and like use magic capabilities. Also, astrologers probably are considered pretty crazy, so she has like a degree with her. She's like, no, I know what I'm doing. So.
She carries around her. Yeah, I love it. I guess you
Look at
probably-
it
you probably
frame.
would. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in a frame. It's very unwieldy. It's just like under her arm all the time.
She has it in a bifold like an FBI.
There you go.
I like that. Does anyone else, would anyone else have with them papers, do you think, or would that not be the case?
I don't think Nick would have. He would either have like forged papers of an other identity or no papers at all. Hedging towards no papers at all. So I'm going to say he doesn't have anything.
It wouldn't be uncommon. I mean, like, this is a time where most people can't write or read. So it's not like everyone's carrying around, passports or anything these days.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're John's son, John the blacksmith's son, because you kind of look like John. Sure, that's what a lot of people go on. They'd never leave their village. So
Everybody's
Yeah.
fleeing. Literally everyone is fleeing a disease.
right, yeah. It's
I don't know if I would
the
have
wealthiest.
papers per se, but I do have the doctor's bag full of surgical tools, and I look very much like a barber,
Right.
which I think
That's
is
like
close
basically
enough.
papers.
That's basically the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
A surgeon's
you're a
kit is not
blacksmith if you
cheap.
have
Like, it's
something.
not something you can just
Yeah,
carry.
right. Yeah,
I feel like that's
people don't
better
just
than
carry that around.
papers.
Plus, I mean, you have that jar of leeches, so you just like jiggle that in front of them.
Right. ID,
Or
please
throw
present
leeches in their
jar
face.
of leeches.
That's how I rate any doctor that I might go to nowadays. Show me a legion.
How many jars of leeches that you carry?
Come in. Love it.
Danny definitely doesn't have anything like that. She's just been in Oswald for a while now. She will try and charm her way in if this is the route we're going.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Marie will turn to you guys and say, well, we can try our hands in the line, or we can try and find another less legitimate route into the city. Well, Jean and I, they will know who we are. And Lucas, as for the rest of you, on your own now, I'm afraid.
You mean you can't get us in?
We can vouch for you, and that will go somewhere, I'm sure. But I can't
vote
guarantee.
legitimate.
We have an extra set of armor.
Oh, did we
Persephone,
take
I
the
can-
armor?
I can vouch for you on the way in. I can get you in with my papers. Say that you are a student of mine.
I've learned to not rely on luck or people.
I don't think it's luck.
Not you, but them. It's trying
We'll just
times
grin at
after all.
that. I think fighting our way in doesn't sound great. I think trying to sneak our way in doesn't sound great. And I'll look over at Danny and say, I think that wearing masks sounds like a good idea. And I will present my arm like so. How do you all feel about doing a little bit of a charade?
I work better as a single gal, but okay. I'll take his arm.
Persephone immediately begins inspecting the area for like sewer tunnels and stuff like that.
Polaris would grab Persephone and like start like taking out all of her paperwork because she's, I think, used to people thinking that she's crazy and just being like, no. I can vouch for you. I've got this. I've got the papers. I've got all the papers and they're signed.
Oh yeah, tomb.
We got a plan. Yeah, we got a plan.
He's sneaking in. He's not. He's sneaking in. And that's why he's not
Maybe.
here.
So
Tomb is gone, and then suddenly you'll like whistle for him, and he'll be behind you, and you don't know how he got there. He's just
Okay.
that's how it
See,
works.
Just real
Toom is whistling
sneaky.
from behind the guards, like he's inside the city already.
He's already-
And just like
Yeah.
waving at you, like what's taking
Yeah.
you so long?
He blew up like a gate somewhere like miles away and just got
Oh
in.
yeah.
Small explosions.
Smart. Diverted.
So Nick will spell out my plan, which you are free to shoot down, and we can do something else. But my plan would be for Danny and Nick to pretend to be an aristocratic couple that has lots of people in their employ, including these hedge knights, and this doctor, and a pair of magic users, and a
I'm
particularly
a barmaid,
useful.
as far as you know.
Right, Hilda the barmaid.
Yeah.
I forgot. An astrologer, a barmaid, a particularly capable-looking elven bodyguard. These are all people who are in Mr. and Mrs. Rattenberry's employ. And don't you know who we are? Let us into the city. That is my plan. We can do something else, though. And I will look at Jean and Marie and say, that depends a lot on you backing our play, because you're the folks that they know already. Are you all right with doing that? It's a bit of a con, and I don't want to put you in an imposition.
John will grumble a bit. Fine, I guess we owe you that much. I'll vouch for you.
Perfect.
There
Suppose
are
I
lots
will
of
just
alternatives,
not-
though. We don't have to do that.
I'm going to very happily pull out an item that I had standard but have not had a use for yet. I'm going to pull out my neck ruff and apply it. I think this is an excellent plan. And I think I'm ready to enter the city.
I'm going to need
All right.
one thing first, though. And I will walk up to Charlie and say, how much for a shave?
Shave and a haircut, 2 bits.
2 bits?
Gosh.
We're fighting.
I don't know how much a bit is, but I have
It's a
16
bronze
brass
piece.
pennies. Oh, okay. I'll give you 2 bits.
Brass penny, yeah.
Gross, yeah.
Great. I will click them together and hand them over, and we will have our montage getting dressed and ready. If we're doing this plan again, we don't have to do this plan. We can sneak into the city.
Fallback is
seems
right.
like
It's
we-
just crazy enough. It might work.
I just feel like sneaking in
I-
seems like a not great plan.
I don't
We
think
can
it's
always-
crazy, and I think like Polaris would like hold her hands up to like the sky and be like, "I think we have great odds."
Yeah. Sky Queen over there agrees. And also, if this doesn't work, we can still try to sneak in later, presumably. So they'll just kick us out. They won't like arrest
Well,
us.
we might get arrested or stabbed
Well,
or something.
not just trying to.
Recognize.
Jean will say, unlikely, they'll just turn you back, but they might recognize you again if you entered in the city unlawfully. But
We'll all have to wear fake mustaches the next time.
I'll take off my neck ruff. They won't notice me. Thing really
this is a costume change.
changes the way I hold myself. I mean, my entire profile is different now. It's terribly uncomfortable. That's why I don't wear it all the time.
I imagine after walking through the forest for 2 weeks, you're still fairly haggard. Like, as much as you can.
Oh, no.
You can pump yourself up.
Well, no,
But
this
there's-
has been in her
got this
bag the whole
perfectly
time.
clean.
Yeah.
I know. That's perfectly clean. Everything else is a mess.
Yeah. Well, we still fled a city. I mean,
I'll
they
give you
know
good
that
hair
there's-
brushing.
Oh yeah, you're a barber. I have some split ends too. Do you think you could get those?
I want to do something fun with it, something flirty. I don't know.
Just go crazy,
Change.
surprise me.
How are you layered?
We're just like 50 feet away from the guard station. And I'm just cutting everyone's hair.
I like to think we're just like 10 feet away. They're just
Yeah,
staring at us while we're doing all this.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. So, wow. What I do want to know what kind of haircut and shave you're giving Nick, and anyone else who's getting haircuts
really
here as well. I feel like it's important.
Nick
moving
knows
forwards.
full well that Charlie doesn't particularly like him and that there's a very sharp blade directly next to his face. So he knows exactly what he's walking into.
Yeah, this is an exercise in trust.
Fall into my blade. I promise I won't slit your throat with it.
It's like that one scene
Yeah.
in one of those James Bond movies with Moneypenny and it's just the straight razor, but it's Nick and Charlie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Also, I was gonna say don't have shaving cream or whatever, but I probably have a shaving oil in my bag still, so you're fine.
For sure.
But yeah, he'll give you
We
a
gonna
nice
waste it on him
clean
now?
shave.
Perfect. No nicks. Sorry. Yeah, very fun.
Yeah,
Do it.
He'll
Do it, Charlie. Just
He'll like linger for a
Just
second
murder
at,
me
at
immediately.
your throat.
Yeah.
Linger for a second at your throat and be like, "You're a good fighter, Nick. It's good work
Yes,
you
I
showed."
am. That is
Hope
that
we
is
don't
what
have to
I'm
use it
useful
again.
for. Well, as you said, I'm not a doctor, but I do have some skills, and I think this is a good team, and I think that you'll learn to, you may not like me, but you'll learn to appreciate what I have to offer. I don't know if you know this, but I'm a bit of a professional confidence man. I'm a gambler. I do what it takes to survive. That's what I'm good at. And that means
Yes,
I
those
don't.
things.
It means I've lived out in the world and outside of the city and outside of a house for a long time. Something I assume you haven't done a ton of.
Make a lot of assumptions.
You and I, those are assumptions. I could be wrong. I usually am. But I take the information that I'm given, and I process that information, and I survive as a result. I make calculized, optimized decisions based on incomplete data, and that's how I've survived this long. I can't afford to be emotional. I take money from emotional people. We can't afford to be emotional. I don't take risks,
That's
especially
something I can agree
unnecessary
with.
ones. The whole equation here has changed, Charlie. I thought that people were going to be coming after me, but that's not the situation anymore.
Stay still,
I'm not
please.
the one. I'm not the one that people are going to be coming for. The magicians are the ones that people are going to be coming for. People with power only want one thing. They want more power. And they got some walking right into this city that's full of powerful people. So we're going to have to hide them and protect them from themselves. You and me and Danny. Toom, I guess, too. But we're not the targets anymore. Not with swords necessarily or shields, but smiles and conversations and leeches and pleasant interactions. I think we're on the same page, right?
I suppose so. You must know something having survived this long.
It's a good shave.
Finish up your shave. Slap you on the cheek. Alright. Showtime.
I feel like a new man. And I will don my Nicholas Rattenberry impression as we approach the...
Oh, I regret this already.
Yep.
Alrighty then. So, You guys approach the long line of people. There's quite a sort of hubbub, I guess, of people, refugees for the most part, who are trying to get into the city. Most of these people have very little with them, but all that they do have with them is every last possession that they have on this earth. As for the guards, it's going to be a long time until you get to them. It's going to be like a couple of hours of waiting, maybe as long as 6 hours in this very long line of people, getting checked, that kind of thing. Are you guys just going to wait in line? Is anyone trying to cut through or do anything to get further ahead? Otherwise, you're going to be waiting quite a while.
I feel like
Polaris
it
is
makes
cool
sense
with
for
waiting.
the I feel like for us pretending to be like important people, it makes sense that we would cut, but that feels
Make
like
a
we're adding a
fuss,
layer of
for sure.
risk.
Has to see
I
the
would
rating.
You gotta
Absolutely.
commit is the thing.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
absolutely. Excuse me, all of you are in our way. Pardon me. The refuse. And then make our way to the front as everyone else rolls their eyes.
All right, and everyone's following Nick in this, right? Everyone's sort of going with it. Okay.
I mean, knowing what the ruse is, I'm going to, but I'm going to be like deeply uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, no, Marie and Jean as well clearly don't feel great about this, but they're going with it. They owe this to you at least. They feel they're pretty honor bound sort of folks, so they will, for their part, sort of be the heaviest barging through because they're like wearing plate mail. You know, you're not going to stand in the way of stuff wearing plate mail. So
Right.
most of the peasants part like the Red Sea around Nicholas Rattenbury as this call goes out. There are a lot of very disgruntled people. Some people may even try and throw rotten fruit and food at you guys as you're going through. You are not popular by the time you get to the end of this line. Lots of jeers and shouts follow after you and for how unfair it is. And then there are other people who are pleading with you to take you with them or to take their child with you into the city. Because presumably you're some kind of noble and have that ability. And so by the time you get through to the end, it's quite the cacophony that you've gone through. And there at the big, heavy wooden gates to the fortress of Einem are arranged about 10 guards who are in this area, enough to hold back the crowd, at least enough for to escape back into the fortress itself in the case that there was some kind of riot. As it seems like things have started to get a little bit tense when you guys barge your way through. There's one particularly unhelpful looking fellow with completely shaved balls, cabbage ears, and something of a leer to his face. Behind him are two physicians who appear to be both scribing people's names that come through and checking people as they go through or turning them away. So he looks at the group of you and says, hello, 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 who do we have here?
Hello there, I'm Nicholas Rattenbury. Very pleased to make your acquaintance. Troubadour, bon vivant, bravo, Austin Wild's most eligible. Well, I guess not any longer as I present Danny next to me.
Hello.
We have traveled very long way. We are ready for your physicians to look us over. I and my cadre are welcomed within the city.
He looks back at the physicians. Okay, is there someone that would vouch for you from within the city already, my lord?
I believe so. Jean, please come forward, please. This is Jean Chevalier of the Blackhearts. Perhaps you've heard of him. Jean, who are our contacts currently within the city? I hope that I would have gone over this earlier, but
Yeah,
maybe not.
for sure.
If not,
even
then
if you're
John's just going to
improving-
have to impose.
Yeah, Jean sort of steps forward. Immediately the man recognizes him. He's a mountain of a man and wearing plate mail and has, knightly sort of coattails and the like. Sir Chevalier. And Jean rattles off a list of people within the city who would vouch for him. One of them includes another Sir Chevalier who you might suspect to be family, either a brother or a father, perhaps, of Jean. No, he's kind of old, so most likely a brother. And the guardsman immediately sort of, nods, checks the list, and the physicians go to give you all a look over. The guard, while you're getting checked out, says, "My lord, we're only allowing a total of 2 extra visitors to the city, along with yourself. See Mr. Sir Chevalier here, and Lady Marie, also allowed within, but if these are just peasant folk of yours, they need to have a trade or use within the city during such trying times." So he sort of looks over at...
Certainly not. They're all highly skilled individuals. Please feel free to present your verifications if you wish, or I can do so for you.
Looks towards Charlie, Polaris, and Giuseppe.
Polaris pulls out her degree, her diploma, and also her paperwork certifying her to use magic, any sort of official paperwork that she has that she carries around with her. He sees that
he sees your degree, and his eyes sort of go wide because he can read well enough to know what this is. And then he sees your certification of being a registered mage, and his eyes almost fall out of his head. And he whispers something nervously as he passes back your papers. He doesn't make eye contact with you as he passes back your papers. So you're all free to go within the city, my lord. And he fumbles over what phrase to use for you, Polaris, my lady. Wait, miss, please.
I'll look at him and be a little okay, and then I'll tap my staff on the ground and then just walk.
Persephone will whisper over to you, "Geez, maybe I should have gone the legitimate route."
Did he say that all of us could go in because of her?
Yeah, he does not wish for any kind of confrontation. He won't even make her eye contact.
Nice. We should have just led with that.
We could have just gone with that, yeah. Thank you, sir. And with my nose to the sky, walk forward.
All right. So you escape the crowd behind you. People still pleading and entreating for you to take them with you. But you leave them behind as you enter into Einem itself, which is a fairly traditional medieval city. It's large, it smells of people living all together too close to one another, and the streets are not particularly clean with sewage running through them. And livestock, animals all live in very close proximity to people here. Small thatched cottages are the peasant areas, while in the western side of town there are the nicer stone buildings of the richer, the aristocrats, and of course the temples of the emperor, because Einem is perhaps the most religiously sound city when it comes to devotion to the emperor, aside from Ostwald, maybe. This place is fairly radical, I guess, in their views. They are very fervently in favor of the emperor, and you'll see people going around with signs of the emperor and various religious, even tattoos, motifs, and people will have portraits or pictures of the emperor up in their windows. Even though he's dead now, he's still very much revered, perhaps even more so. And the temple district of the city is the richest part of town, and perhaps the most influential as well. There are town guards that go around, they eye you suspiciously, as they do seemingly everyone. The city there's a tenseness about it, a tension to it, which you sense perhaps due to the word from Ostwald, perhaps the refugees on their doorstep and the threat of the plague that any newcomers bring. But Jean and Marie lead you through the streets until you come to the tavern called the Horse and Mare. And inside this bustling joint is a large man, big in every sense of the term, named Mash. And he is famous, it would seem, for his mashed potatoes, because that is the only item on the menu aside from alcohol, which is served within the horse and mare. Mashed potatoes. You can get them one way, and it is mashed. And you enter in, people are very much enjoying the mash and the drinks in this place. And it's actually quite a friendly atmosphere that you guys walk into. There's even a musician who's playing in the corner. There's a woman who's playing a lute over in the corner, and sort of the nice dulcet tones from the instrument is flowing inside the tavern walls itself. And this seems like the first real reprieve you've felt from the darkness of both Arkenbury and of just being away from other people who are connecting and speaking to one another. So it's quite nice. And as Jean and Marie enter, Mash looks over at the group of you and says, "Oh, we have more people. Come in, join us. And he beckons you over towards the bar.
Danny's going to slide into a bar stool and take off her ruff. Oh, thank God. I'll have a glass of wine, please.
Okay, we have red and we have white
Red.
wine. All right, I'll open the red one. Okay.
And he goes out, he pops a bottle of red and sets the red wine bottle on your table.
Looks like you could use some of that.
I'm just going to drink from the bottle.
Jean Marie, it's good to see you again.
And the old friends sort of embrace in a big hug, and exchange some pleasantries. And Jean will introduce the rest of you and say, "These are my friends. We've travelled all the way from Ostwald together, from Arkenbury Forest, to be here, Mash. This here is Danny. Met. This is young Charlie Barber. Polaris, she is a astrologer. Nick, Rattenbury, the Bravo, and Hilda, or Helga, was it? Tomb is somewhere
Hilda the
else.
barmaid.
Hilda.
A barmaid. Well, I'm in actual need of one of those,
Says Mash.
Recently
I'm
had an
terrible. I drop.
I would
glasses
jab her
all
with
the
my
time.
staff.
Get a job at the bar?
Okay, and she just looks terrified at Polaris.
Polaris thinks it's funny.
She'll maybe apply tomorrow. We're all so very tired. We just got in. I would imagine Hilda needs some time to rest before accepting the new position.
And a bath.
Yes.
Well, of course, lodgings for any friends of Jean Chevalier. And if there's anything else I can do for you while you're here, I know you've had a very long travel. And, I keep my ear to the ground around here, and if you need of work or friends, companionship, or anything in between, come ask Mash. Oh, and if you need any mash, you come see me.
That makes sense.
Smart.
All right,
Staying
then.
on brand.
Thank you, Mash.
Well, yeah, if I can get you any drinks or food right now, then let me know. I'll be over here. Feel free to take a seat, and I'll get your rooms ready as well.
Great.
Thank you.
I would
So,
I would ask for a big, tall glass of ice water.
Okay. They probably,
I assume that's
wonder
the-
what the easiest way
is that
for
a
them to
thing I
make
can
ice
get?
is.
Yeah,
I
can I
wonder-
get ice?
I wonder the science on medieval ice. There probably is a way to do it.
All right.
Certainly if it's
In that
cold
case, I'll just
enough,
get, I'll
I
just
think
get a
they
glass of
just-
They just
water.
bring it down from the mountains.
Right.
Just run.
It's probably
Scoop.
tough. It's probably tough right now to get ice. So I would just get a glass of water.
Yeah, it'll be cold.
You're not gonna get ice.
Yeah, it's from the well.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. Usually in a D&D world, you could magically create ice, but these guys wouldn't have any magic
Yeah.
to make ice, unfortunately. It's cold. It's from the well. It's nice.
I'll offer my bottle to everyone. Does anyone want some? I had to have some wine or I was going to literally die.
Polaris
Oh.
would take a small glass of the wine. Since this is a very religious town, how do people here feel about astrology, do you think?
Ooh, well, it's a good question. I guess it would depend on exactly how you would present it. So you're a registered mage, which means that the Emperor has approved you in a way. You know, you're part of the governmental structure. That's one branch of it, and the religious branch is another one. So some people could see you almost like a clergywoman or a priestess, I suppose, if you present it that way. But if they weren't clear on the fact that you were, a registered mage, then probably not so fondly. There are like mob hangings and killings of witches. This is for someone like Persephone. This could be a very dangerous place because that's like heresy, right? That's spitting in the face of God almost. You're like a Satan worshipper.
Yes, I'm a barmaid now.
I'd like to change my career path to barmaid.
All right, I think Polaris is like super proud of the fact that she is like registered and has a degree that she will just use that
Yeah,
to
definitely.
calm people's fears.
So you guys take a seat, get some. The mash is particularly good. I mean, it really is quite delightful. And you guys have been on the road, so you probably haven't had like a good meal for a while. You've caught some game, you've had like trail rations and stuff. Maybe you've had a hot meal here or there, but being able to sit back in some chairs with alcohol and mash and no immediate threat of disembowelment or evisceration is actually quite nice. The musician, the bard, I suppose, she's very talented on the lute, and so while you guys sort of sit down and rest, Mash will prepare your rooms quite fastidiously, and a couple of hours later he'll come back and tell you that your rooms are ready, so whenever you want them, here are the keys, and Jean said that he's going to pay the bill for the first week.
That's very kind of you, Jean.
He nods and says, as he kind of gets up from a table, "That is my last parting gift to you, at least for now, friends. Marie and I have business here with Blackhearts, and Lucas will come with us. Need to set back up our operation and find the new lodgings. But, we'll let you know where we're staying, and if there's anything you need, then you can come and visit us."
You'll be checking in on Katrine?
Yes. I suppose I will do that while I'm here.
All right.
Best of luck to you, my friends. I hope you know what you've gotten yourselves into.
Thank you, Jean.
And he kind of gives a little smile and heads off. Marie stays behind for a moment. "Well, I suppose I should leave as well. It's been very nice getting to know you, even if it's only been for a little while. Like Sean says, I hope that you're okay, and if you need anything, then ask Mash, and come and find us if you're in real trouble."
We wouldn't have gotten out of that city without you. Thank you.
It's true.
I may not have survived if it were not for you either, so... You're all good people. And... a place like this, I suppose I should say, may the Emperor watch over you.
Hope you stay well, Marie.
She'll smile, and if anyone's going in for hugs, Marie is a bit of a hugger. If not, handshakes are in order.
100% a hugger.
Yeah, I'll hug her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Professional handshake.
Absolutely. And so then there's only Lucas, the little red-headed young lad. And he will say, "Well, I suppose I'll go too in case I lose them. But thank you, everyone, for looking after us and Nick, and he's got this sort of really nervous look on his face, like he's meeting one of his stars, you know.
Right.
I'll see you around.
I'll give Lucas a hug.
Oh, he's gonna.
Yeah, his face sort of like flushes red and big bright smile on his face.
Then I'll push him and hold him by the shoulders, stand there and say, You'll get back to having a bakery someday. Just, you're a survivor, you'll figure this out. We'll see you around.
Hope so. May the Emperor watch over you. And
Same to you.
he sort of runs out, Marie, and tries to not get lost and lose her in the crowds outside. So you guys are left with Mash and a room full of friendly-looking folk.
Do we each get our own rooms? This inn is big enough for that?
Yeah, so Mash's establishment is fairly large. It's probably one of the bigger ones in the city. So he will show you to your rooms. And you suspect that Jean's probably paid quite well, or maybe Mash owes Jean a favor, because you guys have been given the nice rooms. So there's a general sleeping. I guess the inn room itself, people would sleep on that by the fire if you can't afford much, like a brass penny. Or you can get a room with several other bunks, or at the top of the third layer of the establishment, you can get the best ones, which are single rooms, which you guys have. And Mash shows you inside. It's not much, but the beds aren't flea-ridden, and the walls are thick enough so you don't hear anyone getting up to no good.
Good to hear. Not a fan of fleas.
Might I ask what business you'll be up to while in the city?
Barbering, most likely.
Good stuff.
I think we're just going to try to get settled for now. I'm not sure that we've thought through much more than that.
No worries. Well, you take the night to figure it out. Rest in a good bed will do you a world of good. And if you need anything, just come see Mash.
And he smiles. It's a slightly idiotic grin, but he seems very sincere about the offer of help.
As soon as he goes, I'm going to kind of turn to everyone. So, where do we start looking? Who do we start asking about these creatures? I mean, Mash said he would help us with anything, but I don't know that he's the one to talk to about that.
I don't think we should start asking these questions openly. I think we should listen first. Find the right people.
Given the way people seem to respond to you, Polaris, I'd say you'd probably know the right doors to open, or you'd probably be able to open the right doors anyways.
Yeah, I do think that we are likely to be sought out. Did I happen to notice if anyone followed us from the gates or took particular interest in the paperwork that Polaris produced? I'm pretty good at spotting a tail.
Yeah, you could roll me a perception plus awareness.
Okay. Okay. Let me get the maps out of the way here. That's probably not going to do it. That's a pretty high number.
Probably not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
You
gonna
didn't
do it
notice. Yeah, you didn't notice the tail. Certainly, the guard took a lot of interest in the papers, as did the two physicians. But perhaps that's not anything strange.
With any luck,
is it-
we'll be approached by someone who knows something that can help us. But for now, I think rest is a good idea.
It's nighttime.
I think by the time that you're in the city and settled with MASH, it's the afternoon. But you guys are probably damn tired after 2 weeks of traveling. So if you guys wanted to take a rest here, you'd be within your rights
Persephone
to
is
do that.
actually gonna go on a mission for needles. She needs needles and lots of them.
She just wants to goofy as shit. She also need leashes or black lotuses or needles. I need all of those.
She thought about taking one of the kids from the line, but thought
Right.
better of it.
You don't see any virgins. Need one of those for a ritual. It's the whole thing. Okay, yeah, you can go around the city. I mean, there are shops.
If there's like a
aplenty.
tailor or something anywhere
Yeah.
that she noticed, she would go
Yep,
there
any-
first.
Any kind of medieval type store that you can imagine would exist in Einem, along with a big marketplace as well. So there's a big river which cuts its way through Einem, and so there's like a river docks area as well. A lot of fishing is the trade here, and so there's a big fish market a lot of the time as well. It's one of the other attractions of the city. But yeah, if you want to go and buy some needles, there's absolutely a tailor who can sort of get you. Doubles as like an arts and crafts store, I suppose, in medieval times, because they just sell all the stuff that you would use to need to repair your own clothes, which is a whole lot more common back then. So yeah, getting a hat.
Yeah, she would head straight there. She would tell Polaris, but nobody else, where she was going, and be like not offer for her to come, but like it's implied that she can if she wants to.
I'm going to get needles. Don't tell the others.
I mean, what does a barmaid want with needles and lots of them? You know. So she's not exactly excited to invite anyone else along, so she would go.
You're coming out looking like an acupuncture like veteran or something.
I think she would keep them in her bag. I think. I don't know. She's weird.
Polaris will not go with her, but at the recommendation that Nick was saying that like the thing will find Polaris, I think that she would take out her notebook and like look at like the star patterns and stuff that she sketched and just try to tell him like some things can fix themselves without attention from me right now, and they will. Let's leave it for the night, and it will come to us.
Works for me. I like your attitude. I like your optimism.
It's not my optimism. It's what I get. It's what I've read.
It's the best we've got going. So you lead the way, essentially. You are going to be under a brighter spotlight. You do get that, right? Being a registered
What kind
person.
of spotlight? Like a moonlight, or
Potentially. I was thinking more of like not the literal sense, but more like a philosophically what I meant was that there's going to be more people interested in you because they know you're here. Magic is not a common. I've never seen it previous to a week ago when you used it in the way that you do. It's not very understood. It's very sought after. We're now in what I assume is the safest large city controlled by incredible, powerful people who will want to take advantage of every advantage that they can. And now there's a mage in the city that they didn't have access to before. I just think that I'm worried for you.
I wouldn't be worried. I'm not worried. I've studied this and I feel ready to take it on. I feel like the answers are already there. You just need to look for them.
Works for me.
Anything
Yeah.
else you guys
Yeah,
would like to
that-
do this evening? Sorry, go ahead.
None of that stars or shows you just how any of this will end. does it.
Well, Nick, when were you born?
That's a complicated question. I was born in the autumn sometime. I don't know my exact birth date. It was I didn't
Just by looking at you, I think that I have an idea. And I think from what I'm understanding, you know that there's two paths in front of you right now. And I think that if you just give it some time, you'll know which one to take.
Nick will sort of lose himself in thought for a moment. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Give me just a second. And are we still in the bar area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would find MASH.
Hello.
Mash appears from behind the bar.
You know a lot of people who come through. I know a lot of folks come through the Horse and Mare.
Absolutely.
Have you ever
All kinds of
come across a knight named Urquhart?
Urquhart.
It's a hedge knight.
Urquhart. Oh, yeah. Came by this way maybe 5 years ago. Maybe less.
5 years ago.
Yeah. Nice fella.
All right. Yeah, real nice fella.
Well, he comes by every now and again, but years usually pass in between, such as the business of an edge knight, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a long shot. All right. Well, if you hear anything through the grapevine about Urquhart, you let me know, please.
He is an interesting fella. Always took the time to talk to me. Anything else I can help with? I know most of the folks who are anyone here in the city.
We'll certainly be hanging around, particularly if Hilda takes up the barmaid position. We'll see.
Have you had a chance to think any more about that, Hilda?
No, she hasn't made her decision on that yet. She's going to take the night and think about it, I think. We're just getting off the road, and we want some time to ourselves for just a little bit. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I'll walk back to the table.
Okay.
I would ask Mash if he knows the location of where Olaf's family lives.
Hello, and Mash appears from behind a pillar somewhere.
He's just always right there when you think of him or think his name.
Best kind of bartender.
Bash?
Hello.
Mash. You wake up in a cold sweat and he's at the end of your bed. Yeah,
Bash will say, Olaf, is it? You have to jog my memory. A few Olafs going around here.
Friend of Jean's. He's got a daughter and member of the
Little
Blackhearts.
Katrine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. She came by here a couple of days past, in fact. They live down by the river docks. I'll give you the address if you like.
I'd appreciate it.
For that matter, where is Olaf?
That's what I'm asking. See, he didn't quite make it. The plague got him.
Well, that is sad news indeed. Olaf was a good fella. Don't know what little Katrine's going to do now. Yeah, she's on her own, isn't she?
She'll find a way. He's got
Well,
some money
will
for
you-
us, so.
We'll be the orphanage for her, and it's, well, let's see what we can do, I suppose.
Was that at the table?
Yeah, I think so, right?
I heard that.
I
Or do you
was
wanna be
kind of
talking
trying to. I was trying to have that conversation alone, but after
Okay, yeah.
hearing him say that, I would go back to the party and just sort of say, sounds like Olaf's daughter is well, she's all alone now. I guess I don't know what I expected. Thought maybe she had a grandmother, mother even, take care of her, but no, she's gonna be off to the orphanage unless something better comes up.
At which point Nick would perk up. The orphanage here in Einem.
Yeah. He, I have his sword, I have his armor. Said to sell it, give it to her so she has something, at least. But without a caretaker, I can't imagine she'd last very long. No, I suppose I don't quite know how old she is.
Yeah, we don't know how old she is, do we?
If you asked Mash, which you can do fairly easily, she is 8 years old.
Oh boy.
Youch.
And she's alone? Completely?
There's presumably someone who's like
Caretaking?
caretaking
in.
the building. So there's like caretakers for buildings who would be the property owner. So like a landlord, but a bit more active than landlords are for us nowadays. They would live in the building as well, and they would check in. And presumably Olaf was sending money back to her, so she would be fine. So she'd go to school and everything and come back, and kids who are probably a bit more self-sufficient than we might expect them to be now. But again, asking Mash, her mother passed away earlier this winter, so she's only been alone for a little while, perhaps why Olaf was trying to come back home as well.
That's no way for a child to grow up. I was an orphan here in Einem,
Were you?
so I know what that's like. That's not a
Is the orphanage any good?
as good as an orphanage can be, I guess. It's tough. You have to scrap and claw for every little bit. I got lucky. I was not there too long, but not all of the children are so lucky. Is it... Do you think it's our intention to fix this situation?
I mean, truth be told, I don't know what we can do. If we're just gonna set up shop and live our own lives here, then sure, adopt her. But we're going into dangerous business. Finding the creator of those beasts. No. No place for a child.
Well, as long as we're here, maybe we can do something. We could see what the situation is. I mean, to be fair, we need someplace to be, and she needs someone to take care of her. Maybe we set up
Are you
shop in
suggesting we
Olaf's
squat in
house
that little girl's home?
and raise her as a child should be. with 6 weirdos, just like every
We're
kid
sup-
dreams
Yeah.
of.
We
We're
have
supposed
we
to-
have a place here for the next week.
We will be investigating creatures in a forest with skin sewn onto their faces. I don't think that's a place for a child.
Neither
Why
is the
can't we
orphanage.
leave her with Jean or Marie or one of Olaf's friends?
They're travelers. They aren't going to be here for very long.
And we are dangerous.
It's a rock and hard place.
Someone's been taking care of her this long. They can continue for just a bit longer. If things turn out in such a way that we just end up rebuilding lives here, then I could take on the burden, but we don't have to. Right now, we have a job.
Well, right now I have an errand, and I would go up to Mash and ask him to point me to the tailor.
Yeah, he points across the road.
Oh, yeah?
And then how many needles could I buy and for how much?
That's a great question. How many needles do you need?
As many as I can afford.
How much money do you have?
I have 9 silver, 6 brass.
Do you want to spend all of your money on needles?
No, I don't want to spend all of my money on needles, but I would love to get a lot of them.
Sure. Like I don't have the needle to brass spat on me right now, but I
You don't know
I
that?
can. This fucking unprepared
Yeah,
GM.
Zweihander right now and ask.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
that's Dan. Dan, how many needles can we get? But you can come
I'm
away.
searching the PDF to see if there's a price anywhere.
Control F needles. Only one. Okay. Well, you can get several bundles of these for let's call it 10 brass. You haggle it down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would
The
leave
kind
me
used
then
in sewing,
with 1
in sewing
silver.
kits, right? Those are the kind you're looking for.
It does not specify.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah.
any needle will do.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick question on the money conversion. If I have 9 silver, 6 brass, that would leave me with how much?
I will
Is
have to go
it
and look
10
at-
brass to a silver?
I didn't memorize it. I'm afraid.
Me either. I'm the worst. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it says the conversion in our thing here.
Oh, does
doesn't
it?
Somewhere.
12 brass to a silver, 20 silver to a gold.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like
Wow.
shillings. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Did you
base
memorize
10, which
it?
made me really sad.
I am looking at the character sheet where it says it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's
You
somewhere.
are ready for everything. Just
Don't mind me, I'm just
Like
in
a
the book
car.
right now looking up how much I can make by selling my barber services for a day. Because that's there.
Perfect.
oh my god, can
Oh,
I
yeah.
sell people's astrology to them?
You do like palm readings.
Right.
Absolutely,
Style
I will. I
Well,
would
you know,
agree.
like,
I can
people-
think of anything.
Yeah, people
I
nowadays
think
sign
that's
up to
I think it
these
says that
like
much in the book.
services to tell them what your star sign is each day, and people love that shit. So
I
back in the
totally
day,
haven't done
even
that to prepare for
even-
this.
even more superstitious people, especially as you're like registered, like, but you could go to a temple and pledge your services there for a day, and they would pay you, good coin to, preach or do whatever services that you were offering to them, seeing as you're licensed. Yeah.
I'm
The
sorry
cycle is fun.
to.
The rest of this game.
Go ahead.
I'm
Dux.
sorry to be a thorn, but I do need to know how many needles I got.
Okay. How many do you need for each casting of the spell?
1.
1 needle? That would give me like 20 needles.
Dope. Thank you.
Sweet. Same goes for any of you in terms of what if you would like to find work here in Einem, we can totally do that. There are gambling dens. You can be a bartender. Mash would happily hire some of you guys.
Persephone would probably take him up on that for a couple days until we figure out what we're doing.
Sweet. Okay. If you want to sell your sword, there are places. There are personal, nobles who are looking to hire. In fact, if anyone's sort of looking in that line of business, I'll give you a name on the streets. The name is Marcus Viridian, and he is hiring a lot of sellswords right now. Marcus Viridian. That's his name.
Do we know anything about Marcus?
He is a rich moneylender, and he's hiring. That's what people in the streets would give you. And we'll say that this evening you guys are asking around, getting info from Mash, other people in the tavern. For Charlie, I'll give you this lead. There is a physician in the city, and his name is Dr. Phineas. Dr. Phineas is hiring surgeons. Because there is a big need for people to check people coming in and out of the city. Dr. Phineas is the guy in charge of the Physicians Guild. So he would be the person to talk to if you wanted to set up shop. So there's that. And then, like I mentioned, gambling or anything else you could think of. Even just fishing, something that you can do.
Right. I would find where the physician works, and then I would set up basically a crate on the side of the road near it. Take out my barber tools. Actually stack up a few crates so there's somewhere to sit, basically.
Right.
And just start shouting to people on the street in a way that would be very uncharacteristic of Charlie. I don't know if any of you would see it unless you happen to be wandering around town at the same time. But Charlie has abandoned his very calm demeanor and is going full street salesman kind of guy. Just shouting at people. The plague's coming, folks. If you want to have your blood let or your beard shaved, keep yourself nice and trim, nice and clean, nice and safe in case of the blood plague coming through. It is the only thing that'll keep you safe. Right here. I got it. Everything that you need. Any services, you want your blood let, you need surgery done, I am your man. And just shouting at people on the street and trying to get work. And also hopefully trying to get the notice of the physician who works nearby as well.
Okay, cool. Will that be going on for the next day here? Seeing as that kind of work is definitely in high demand right now because people are absolutely terrified of the plague. So whether you're preying on their fears or they just need to shave, there are people lining up to work for give Charlie work.
Listen, who's to say the plague isn't caused by an unruly amount of facial hair? We just don't know. Doctors have been trying for some time now to figure out the source of the plague, and let me tell you, I have figured it out. It is not having a clean shave and not having enough blood let from your system. Got too much blood, got too much hair. I'll take them both away for you.
It's a 2-for-1 package, like you're selling them. The bloodletting comes free when you get the shave, yeah. Cool. So that's what Charlie's going to be spending the next day on. So we'll say that you guys sleep, get all this information, and the next day you're out on the town because for sure you guys are going to need to start getting some money because Mash is going to start needing to be paid, and presumably you have other expenses that you're expecting here in Einem. And the going is fairly good, to be honest, right now. So that's what Charlie's up to. Danny, is there anything that Danny would like to be doing the next day? Either in regards to the investigation or just setting up your life here again?
I guess I'll sort of be trying to set up here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk to the bards that were playing in the tavern and explain to them that I'm not a musician and I have no interest in taking clients from them in that respect, but asking where patrons of the arts can be found, whether it's here in Mash's establishment or if there are higher end taverns I need to maybe hang out.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm going to try to get a scoop from them.
Definitely, yeah. The local musicians will tell you about, on the west side of town, that's where like the kind of bougier establishments and taverns would be, where there are different kinds of work that take place aside from just being a bard, depending on what it was that you were looking to do. And I know that also Danny like managed the books for in her last job. Is that something that she's interested in pursuing in any way, like the book keeping side of things of her business and debts, or is she interested in the more performance side of like work?
I don't know that I've ever considered it before. I mean, it was my own personal records.
It was your own business,
that I would, right. But it could certainly be a fallback if she can't find anyone interested in just spending their money on her.
There's certainly no lack of that. I mean, and depending if you want to go for like the lower end side of things, like the river docks is where a lot of that takes place, which is possibly more dangerous. And the higher end clientele for that kind of work are on the west side of town.
Yeah, that's probably where she.
Different taverns there. Okay.
That's where she's going to be interested in spending some time. Okay.
We're going to set you up with a friend that you make while inquiring about this sort of business. It's a nice young girl named Morena. And Morena works through about 2 or 3 different taverns, on any given evening. And they deal in sort of more noble clientele. And maybe you drop a name from some of your friends back in Arkenbury that she recognizes. One way or another, the two of you fall in together as she can get you a meeting with the sort of like matron of the establishment this evening to get you set up and see if maybe you can get a job there.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Polaris. What's Polaris up to the next day?
Polaris would definitely go to the local temple and set up like a little area where she could read people's signs and kind of talk to them, and through doing that maybe not be 100% honest if she thinks that she can get out some information from people about what's going on in the forest, like maybe hunters even that go out that maybe come to the temple to see if they've heard of anything going on in the forest or if they know anything, try to extract that. I think that she thinks that she's a little bit smarter than these people. Whether or not that's true, it may or may not be. I think she's trying to play him a little bit.
You're definitely more learned than most of the people around here. The only person that would sort of match you in that sort of way is the priestess of the temple that you've set up shop in, whose name is Mother Paulina. And Mother Paulina, she's a very kindly old woman, but she's got this sort of sharpness to her that while she's old and she seems like she's really friendly, she also doesn't tolerate any nonsense in her temple, that kind of deal. She's like the strict nun of the temple. But she's also very knowledgeable as well. And so as soon as you've like proven yourself with your credentials and you've set up, she would be available to like chat to, because she knows a lot of what's going on in the city. A lot of important people come to the temple. And so she's got a finger on the pulse there. Is there anything in particular you'd be looking to ask her?
Yeah, once I kind of established that she got it and was trustworthy, I think I would try to get her alone and just ask, like, Paulina, have you heard what's going on in the forest beyond your city?
She looks a little confused. No, I can't say that I keep an eye on what's going on in Arkenbury Forest anymore. A few settlers live there any longer.
know lots of people have been coming through it, such as yourself, but what's been occurring there?
But you've heard the rumors that it's haunted, I'm sure you've heard that.
Oh, well, certainly. Rumors abound in places of darkness where the Emperor's light does not touch them. But people come in here telling me ghost stories all of the time. Last night, for instance, this young woman of the night, I suspect, her sins, she told me that she saw ghosts on the docks. Man with a white face, pale as a ghost. So a mask. Such nonsense is often the case when there is darkness and the mind goes to places where it shouldn't.
But what if I told you I've seen something in that forest? Something I can't explain even in all of the books I've read in my life. Something I've never seen before and something that was haunted. It wasn't real, but it was.
My dear, I'm sure whatever it was, the Emperor will guide and protect you from it, as long as your faith is strong. And now you are within the city. You're safe again.
But I don't know how much longer I can stay in the city. Do you know any crows that live in that forest?
Crows. Why, the crows haven't been outside of Darkenbury Cathedral in hundreds, maybe thousands of years. I can't imagine there's one wandering around there except for in fairy tales.
Well, I don't know what fairy tales you've heard, but we saw one while we were out there. Among the nightmare things that we saw that everyone thinks aren't true, and the crow said that they would keep us safe from the plague, and it has so far, but they needed us to find what else is going on, and I don't know where to look for those answers, but I feel like I need to deliver to keep my friends safe.
Dear, you're beginning to sound a lot like that awful doctor. Phineas, whatever his name is. He too has been in here speaking about the wisdom of crows. But I must not forget that it was the Emperor who made those crows, and that they are not true followers of his divine light. It is only in him that we will find true wisdom.
I don't know what to believe about that or who to believe about that, but I know what I saw, and I know what I feel and what I've read in the sky, and I just need to figure out what's going on out there. It's true, the stories. Whatever you're hearing from out there, I think it's real, and I think that you should pay closer attention.
No word travels out from Arkenbury, except yours. But if you are interested in learning more about those horrendous creatures, the crows, I recommend you speak with the physician, Phineas. He has a strange fascination with them. Unhealthy at best.
I guess I will. I guess his unhealthy obsession is the best lead I've got right now. I know that you probably think I'm mad. You probably don't believe all of this, and I understand why you wouldn't think that, but I think I do need to explore it. I think I do need to talk to him.
Do not let it distract you from your true path. Speak to him if you must.
I will. But I'll go outside tonight, though, and look up and see if there's any other wisdom I can find or any other direction I think I should be taking. But right now, I think that's what I should do.
She really doesn't fully approve
But she's not going to stop you. Okay, cool. So we have a couple of leads. Nick. What is Nick up to?
Nick is gonna see if Tomb wants to go talk to Marcus with him.
Okay.
See if the two of us can go for a walk.
Sure thing.
I would attempt to wander past the orphanage if I still remember where it is, and it's
Right,
on
yeah.
the way. Is there a map of the city actually?
I don't have a map of Vineland for you today. I can try
Okay.
and get one for next week. But
Okay.
But
No
yeah,
worries.
if you, we'll say it's on the way. It's at the very least a minor detour to get to the
Sure.
the
If it's a
orphanage.
minor detour,
It's-
I would just want to watch it as I walked past, not making a stop right now. Does it look different in any way?
I mean, when you left it was big and run down, and it's probably even bigger now, but also even more run down. It probably hasn't been repaired, since at best halfway repairs. It's
Yeah.
multi-storied building with lonely children on the inside, and not a lot of good care for them.
Okay. Yeah, Tomb and I assume that we've all established that we'll meet back up at the Horse and Mare at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
Hopefully before the stars come out, but, whatever. And Tomb and I will go attempt to find Mr. Viridian.
Okay. Mr. Viridian is not a hard man to find because, as the word on the street was, he is hiring a lot of people for protection. He has a large townhouse on the west side of town, and it is positively brimming with guards and mercenaries. There are perhaps 20 people who he's hired, and that's a lot of people. You've got to be a rich person to hire 20 people
Yeah.
for more than one day. His house itself has like a garden to it and an estate, and it's kind of beautiful. But the guards all around it definitely lend it a more hostile atmosphere. Obviously, the door is closed, so you can't see inside, but you suspect that Mr. Viridian would be inside, protected by these guardsmen. How would you like to approach?
This is like organized crime? This is like we're going to see Don Corleone?
Interesting question. Let's see.
Like,
You can
it's a nice
roll
bar
me.
you got there. It'd be a shame if something were to happen
So
to
it
you.
happened to it. Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about
You could roll me
actual
a-
protection?
You could roll me a perception scrutinize
Great.
here, which is sort of like an insight. Oh, damn.
Yeah. Sure do. Sure.
Some of-
I definitely know things like this, so it does not surprise me
Right.
that I know something about it.
Right. So, word on the street was that this guy's a moneylender. So, moneylenders probably need protection because
Right.
people might try to get out of debts, or they may be, try and kill them so the debts no longer exist. But this seems kind of like panicky. Like these guys here are probably not necessarily reputable kinds. They're like off the street, sell swords and mercenaries and like. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're criminals or necessarily make Marcus Viridian a criminal. But yeah, you sense that this is maybe more of a panic move than it is that he's got these guys around all the time, because he wouldn't be hiring if he had people around all the time.
I will basically tell Tomb, you want to go inside? If we go inside, I can, use my ways. You just stay quiet. We'll figure out what information we can get, and then we'll decide if we want to take this job later.
I think Tim would agree to that. He'd certainly, if this guy might be able to cause a bit of trouble, and maybe he's connected to the criminal types, Tim would probably be interested.
Tomb, you just keep looking 6'6" with a scar on your face, super tough, and we'll just see what we can do. Keep up appearances.
All right, then. So,
Jim said he looked like David Bowie, though.
Did he? I mean, that's intimidating.
that's intimidating in his own way. Like, depending on what he's wearing at the time.
So I
Could be
will
quite
walk up to the
shocking.
gate. I will walk up to the gate to whoever looks like they're the guard there and say, I heard they were hiring.
Yeah, he looks you up and down, sees the sword, the armor,
to... Yeah. Mr. Brilliant is hiring. As it happens,
We are happy to have a conversation.
all right, what's your name, good sir?
My name is Nick. This is my friend Tomb. He doesn't talk much.
All right, well, not talking much is good in this line of business. All right, you can come inside, but leave your weapons here.
I'll look at Tomb. And... does Tomb look like he's carrying weapons?
I don't think he is. I think he has bombs.
He's got a jacket full of Molotov cocktails.
But I don't think he carries a sword on his hip.
Okay. Alright, I will leave my pike and my spear at the door.
Okay.
I will not make a move to take off my shield. I will
That's
keep my
fine.
shield.
Yeah, they won't try. Take that from you.
Careful, those are
So-
sharp.
They let you inside the townhouse itself. After a sort of knock on the door and maybe a minute wait or so, you then hear a voice from inside. Yes, yes, come in, come in, come in. And you see a clearly wealthy and rotund gentleman who clearly must be Marcus Viridian, who's wearing sort of a burgher's outfit. So it's to say, he has this sort of cap on and a sort of jaunty angle with a feather coming out of it, and large flowing robes that would show him to be sort of a merchant. He also has a pendant, like a gold chain around his neck, which would look super flashy, and marks him out to be a member of the Merchants Guild. And come in, come in. Who's here? Who are you? He looks very
Nice
nervous.
place. Good, nice little... Can I take a seat? Can I sit on these?
Yes, yes, sit on them. Take a seat,
Great.
please.
I will take a seat on whatever the comfiest looking chair is.
Pretty comfy looking chairs around.
I assume Tomb would not sit, maybe? Whatever. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, for the purposes of the scene, Tomb isn't really here, so he's lurking somewhere.
Yeah, sure. So, hi, how are you? My name is Nick. This is my friend Tomb. We were, new in town and looking for gainful employment. We're men of skill and interested in what you might have to offer. We, are weighing all of our options and thought that this might be a good opportunity here.
Well, you heard right. We are hiring. Help.
Cool. What's the situation? What's the deal? What are you looking for in particular?
There's no situation.
I noticed you got a lot of guys. You got a lot of guys out front.
Well, one can never be too careful in this line of work that I'm in. A merchant and moneylender. But no.
Okay.
Situation, and he shoots a glance out the window from behind the curtain.
All right. What am I gaining any insight into? I'm trying to direct the conversation to sort of have him either non-verbally or verbally comment on what he's not saying about this situation. So I would basically be like, times are tough, I get it, but this seems like a recent development. You don't exactly have guard towers out front. These seem like capable gents, but maybe not full-time employees. What's the rush?
I don't like to discuss my innermost workings of my business. A lot of moving parts and complex.
Totally get it. I just want to know what I'm getting into. I'm a businessman myself.
Some danger involved in this line of work. There may be unruly folks looking to harm me or steal things from me, maybe, or maybe they're
He's clearly making this up on the spot.
Rebels.
Right.
Could be like rebels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know them myself, of course. But it could be the types around here somewhere.
I think I understand. You know, I am gonna have to. We're gonna have to think about this a little bit. I appreciate your candor. If you have anything else that you want to let us know that we didn't cover in this conversation right now, you should drop us a line and send somebody over and leave a note for us. How about that? Just in case, just in case you have more that you want to say.
I suppose so. Where are you staying?
And then I'll produce. I believe I have some parchment.
Mm-hmm.
So the impression that I'm getting, Dungeon Master, correct me if I'm wrong as a player, Dungeon Master, Game Master, sorry, is that this is a anti-emperor person.
Why don't you roll me a scrutinize, and that's sort of the inside check to see what kind of read you're getting off this guy.
Okay. Ain't gonna do it.
It's tough. You could use a critical success if you wanted.
Nah, I'm not that interested, I don't think.
The read you get from him is tough. He's definitely worried about something. You definitely couldn't say exactly what it is, though. He's not telling you who he's in trouble with, but he's most clearly in trouble with someone. The suspicion might be, though, if it were the guards, they'd probably have arrested him and have him strung up already. So it's likely some kind of criminal interest that maybe has something on him. It's tough to say.
Okay. Well, we'll be in touch. Does that sound all right to you?
Very well. I know the tavern. I'll send word if any developments arise.
Excellent news. It was very nice to meet you, Mr. Viridian, and
Yes.
we will be in contact soon.
Yes. Very, very good. Nick. See you soon. Bye.
And as I leave, I just want to be watching his body language as much as I can. He glanced at the window at one point. I want to be looking for any sort of giveaway in terms of body language that might give me any sort of specific hint, rather than just it's a criminal enterprise. It's a kind of a long shot. Otherwise, I would talk with Tomb outside about how we should just keep our ear to the ground about what sort of illegitimate kind of situation might be involving Mr. Viridian. Maybe check in with MASH about it and see what's up there. But I don't want to get in. I would.
We'll say that as soon as you sort of get out, for the guy who let you in, as you're getting your weapons back, says, so did he tell you what was going on then?
Yeah, totally. I just want. What do you think your take on the whole situation is? I mean, he told us everything, but I just want to hear what you have to say.
You can roll me a.
That was real smooth, though. Super smooth.
That was good. We'll give you a guile with. Give you a plus 20.
Ooh, I have a guile bonus.
Yep.
And
so
does
plus
Nick.
20 because it was easy.
Plus 20 to. That's gonna. I have a guile bonus.
So it's plus 10. So your fellowship score is.
My fellowship is 41.
41 plus 10 for guile.
And I have two advances in. I have two advances in fellowship because fellowship is my favored stat.
Okay, so that's been calculated into the big number. So 41 plus 10 is 51 plus 20, looking for 71 and under.
I don't think I factored it into the overall number.
So if you've got two advances, you get plus 2, or is it plus 5 of them? So plus 10.
Plus 5 per, so it should be 51. Because I rolled a 41. So then it goes up to a 51.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I would need to roll under an 81. I hit an 83.
Damn close. The
All right.
the guy is like,
Probably should go give my opinion on things. Get me in trouble. This is a good gig.
Totally get it. Yeah, man. We'll probably be working together soon, though. I'm we're new in town. We're hanging out down at the Horse and Mare. If you ever come by for a drink, I'd love to get you one. What's your name?
Mark.
Mark. It's a good name. You seem like a Mark. I'll see you down at the bar.
all right.
And
So
then I'll walk away.
excellent. Persephone, you have bought yourself needles. What do you do when you have the needles?
I hide them throughout my belongings, splitting them between cloaks and bags in a way that's like safe and won't stab me. And then I head down to Mash reluctantly. Is like,
Hello.
I'm
As soon as
ready
you think about Mash, he's there.
I'm ready to train.
Ready to... Oh.
as
Well, I
the
suppose I
barmaid.
I can train you. Well, basically...
Only
what
poured
it is-
ale.
Yeah. You got a pour ale, and you got a spoon mash. Not me. I mean...
She
potatoes.
flushes a little at that. She would be like, and looks maybe a little disgusted, and is like, "Yeah, okay, I can do that."
He looks like very upset, like he may have offended you.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, oh dear. Got myself in trouble again, didn't I?
How many drinks are served here?
Well, there's ale, and then there's wines, and then there's stronger stuff, what is up in the spirit cabinet. And when people offer for a drink, you go get it for them and take the money. Or sometimes they may not say they want a drink, so you might want to ask them. You know, you might want to ask them and say, "Would you like a drink?" And that's my whole job, really.
Perhaps you could ask the people, and I could go get the drinks.
Well, that could work, couldn't it?
I would prefer it, and it sounds efficient.
Well, you not like talking to people or something?
Sir, if it weren't for money, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, and you're lovely.
Oh, well, that breaks me heart a little bit on the inside. It's all cracked like an egg.
I have found that bars are perhaps one of the only places where people are nice at the beginning of the day and honest at the end of the day.
That's that wisdom right there.
So I'll fetch the drinks. You get the orders.
All right then. Sounds like a great combination. You're hired.
She'll do like a very sloppy, very unpracticed curtsy in all of her like ragged cloaks and skirts.
Just filled with needles. he just clatter with the sound of 20 needles.
You're in 3 jars of leeches and you're
Just
Anybody
pouring
here? I
leeches and
mean,
needles.
I've got plenty of garnish.
Oh my god. Well, you
That's
are
for blood
hired by
sausages,
Mash.
right? It's just a full leaf, right?
Half a leech.
Lovely.
This is desperate times, okay? Ain't nobody deserves a whole leech.
It's true. That's a banger for the mash.
Oh my god, I'll call you bangers.
Blood sausage.
Wait. Look, I'm Mash. You could be bangers, but that sounds rude though, doesn't it? Well, then room for you. Oh no. First I'll spoon
I think that she would be. I think that she kind of already has a fondness for Mash because he's proving useful. I think that she would be okay with him calling her bangers. I think that she would think that was funny. The bangers and Mash thing.
Awesome.
So I want to say that the rest of the party then, after a successful evening, to cut to Danny as well. Danny swiftly, I mean, you could secure work, which is probably most likely in the evening time, so you may not have time to be back so much in the evenings. With the matron of this tavern that Marina goes and shows you around, and Marina's a really nice girl. She's definitely one that's helping you out, and she's got a bit of experience here in Einem as well. So by the end of the night, you've got a couple of regular gigs that you can go to each night, depending on what hours you'd like to work. It's fairly flexible.
Excellent.
So the party then return at various intervals during the evening to find Hilda, the barmaid, who is now lovingly being referred to as Bangers by Mash and some other of the regular patrons who are very much enjoying this latest development. And the two of them seem to have a real sort of tag team system in place, where Mash says, "Would you like a drink?" And then Hilda goes and gets the drink. And
Oi,
every
bangers!
Oi, bangers!
These 4 ales!
Great.
So once you guys let's cut forward to when Hilda's off a shift and you guys can get a table together, and you're eating the bangers and maybe there's you're eating the mash and maybe there's some leeches thrown in there as well. We haven't carved Persephone up on the table yet; she's not been sacrificed.
Right.
And you guys have got some ale
night
and
is
some
young.
wine. The night's still young. You don't know what Mash really gets up to. So, presumably, there is some exchange of information which takes place after some pretty eventful evenings for you guys.
Yeah, I would exposit what I learned and let them know that if those guards come in, to let me know so that I can try to, imbibe them with more more information.
For sure.
I hung out all day, given haircuts and surgery and whatnot.
Yes.
We'll
say
did I
that
see
Charlie-
anything as I was sort of staking out?
So you got a pretty good feel of the town, which is to say everyone's really, really frightened. You got, at some point,
I'm not helping with
courier.
that. I'm making that worse.
Yeah, oh yeah. A courier arrives, so like a boy with a letter, basically. And you are given the medieval equivalent of a cease and desist because you're not a part of the guild of physicians or barbers. So you would need to be, registered here. So you have an invitation of sorts to meet with Dr. Phineas on the morrow, who wishes to probably reprimand you, but also speak with you.
As I'm reading this letter, and I assume there's like a patient who's like half shaved on the crate next to me, and maybe even like a line of a couple people waiting, or like with leeches on their arms. I'm just gonna start saying, looks like the people here don't really much care about these fancy permits. I've been doing my craft for plenty of years over in Ostwald, and I've been doing just fine so far. All right. These people, they need help. The citizens deserve help. They deserve all the barbers and surgeons that they can be offered. And they don't need... And I just sort of look at, like, the crowds or whatever who are either, like, just I imagine are just sort of staring, like... possibly getting a little bit too riled up, and then just shuts it down immediately. I'm going to take care of these patients, and then I'll meet with this Phineas, or who am I meeting with?
The courier boy, like, Dr. Phineas, sir. Because it's basically just a delivery boy.
Right. Will do.
Awesome. So you guys are back at the bar. Nick sort of caught you up on everything that he's learned with Marcus Viridian. And at one point in the evening, Mark has taken you up on your offer, Nick. And he slides over to the table.
Right. Drink, I think you said you were going to get me.
Right, yeah. Mark, right?
That's right, yeah.
Great, perfect. Hey, I just felt a real kinship with you over there. So how's it going, man? Let's get some. What do you want? What are you drinking?
Just an ale would be great, mate.
Ale sounds great. Bangers. You'll love this. They're called bangers and mash. Bangers.
Oh, that's great.
She will glare at you. She'll glare at you from the bar and elbow mash.
Oh, that mash appears.
Oh right, yeah. Sorry, I forgot the system. We actually have to talk to Mash. Mash, come on. I'll take 2 ales.
2 ales.
And he looks back at Hilda.
2 ales.
She'll pour them and place them on the bar.
Great.
You suspect there's a middleman in this whole system somewhere that could be cut out, but
right.
It's all good.
Yeah. So how's it going? What's the deal over there? I was thinking about working there as well. I just wanted to see what you've been there a little bit, so I thought you'd have some insight.
Not much really going on though, as far as I can see so far. I mean, the guy's been scared the whole time that something's going to happen, but nothing has so far. So he's jumpy. Lads are, on guard and everything. I alert, but no one's attacked. Guards don't pay us any mind. Something's got his by the gizzard,
Interesting.
I reckon
What's that?
There's a fella, what he was working with before. This fella, he went out on the river, went away, came back a couple of days ago, dead. He was dead. They took him off to the physicians to get him checked out for the plague and whatnot, so maybe he had the plague, I don't know. But ever since that Mr. Viridian, he's been all sorts of, sketchy.
He came back dead?
Yeah, sailed out on a boat all the way back here. Like a ghost.
Huh. Interesting.
Mark likes telling a good ghost story, you can tell.
Yeah. And this, we haven't talked with Polaris. I haven't talked with Polaris yet, have I? About the, Polaris, have we chatted about the ghosts that you were told about? No? Okay. Interesting. Weird. Interesting, though. Yeah, so he just hired, so it seems like it's pretty easy money then, just stand out in front.
Yeah, so far at least, and there's any more ghosts start coming up,
I don't believe in ghosts, do you?
No, but I'll take his money all the same.
Exactly right, and I'll cheers him. Yeah, and I'll just, I guess that's all the information I really care to get out of him. Hey, do you play cards?
Sure.
Great, I would. And then I guess I would offer to gamble against him and see if I can take some of his money. But
definitely. Okay. So you gamble with Mark for a while. Meanwhile, the rest of the party, you guys catching one another up on what's been going on in your days? And I guess importantly, is there any information which you don't tell one another?
Hilda sits there quietly. She doesn't have anything important to add.
She's like pretending she knows something, but like... Really, she doesn't.
I would tell Charlie what I learned about. So is the main doctor that we're talking about Dr. Phineas?
Phineas.
Yes, Phineas is
Like,
the
really
head of the
good one.
Physicians Guild.
All right, I would tell Charlie about Dr. Phineas and how Mother Paulina thinks that, I'm a little bit crazy with my stories about what's from the forest, but Dr. Phineas might believe me. So I'd tell Charlie about that because he's the one that I trust the most. I obviously also tell Polaris too because she's probably always there with me.
Mm-hmm.
You mean Persephone? You're Polaris.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Persephone.
You tell yourself. You are always with
I
you.
would tell myself and I would tell Charlie.
I parsed it.
I understood as well.
Sorry.
No.
Wizard
Fine,
animation.
sorry. Well, it seems like we've got a similar destination then. And I'd show her the letter. Seems like this guy's got a monopoly on healing people around here. Didn't take too kindly to me selling my goods.
If he's healing, that's one thing, but he might know what's going on in the forest, and I think we need to figure that out to keep that crow happy. To keep the rest of us alive.
Seems like the next destination. Everyone should probably come on this.
Agree. We should fill in Nick, of course. And Danny, of course.
And Danny. And Tomb.
And Tim. I don't want Tomb to set his house on fire, though. We should really have that talk with him up front.
Yeah, maybe I won't tell him about the whole not liking people healing folks without a permit thing. Feel like he wouldn't take too kindly to that.
No. Tomb loves permits and papers.
Tube's definitely got some manifesto about free healthcare for everyone.
Absolutely, he does.
He's gonna blow up the hospitals to get it to happen.
I don't think Tomb wants free healthcare. I think Tomb just wants there to be no one telling who can't heal anyone.
Right. It just happens.
More libertarianism.
There's no system.
Right.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Pass this along. Tomorrow.
Mark, this was lovely. I'll see you later. And then I'll
Yeah.
head back to the group.
So Danny, Nick, Stephanie, Polaris, and Charlie, you guys group back up again for a little catch up.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll
apparently-
tell everyone.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll just tell everyone, what I just told Polaris pretty much, except for the part about the permit for Tomb, so he doesn't go burning anything down yet.
Yeah. Yeah, you can skip that. What would you tell us though? Would you tell us everything? Like 100% what you heard?
I wouldn't repeat anything that you said. I would let you fill them in on that if you so choose. But I would say I have been asked to talk to this Dr. Phineas. He seems like a potential good source of information. I think we should all go.
Are we all invited?
Well,
I would.
it's just me, but don't see why not. He's a doctor.
I don't
All right.
think we've been not invited. In fact, I was told about Dr. Phineas too from Mother Paulina at the temple. I was there, and she agreed that I should speak with him. She doesn't agree with what I was saying, but she understands, and she thinks that we should speak with him.
It's a good lead.
What about you, Nick?
What about
You
What
win
did
anything
come up
today?
with?
Yeah, Nick and Tomb and I went to go visit the Marcus Viridian character Big dude. He needs to check his blood pressure. I think that he might have some health issues if you ever get a chance to talk with him. He's got a lot of money, too. So if you want to be like a personal physician, he might be hiring for that. Right now, he's hiring a lot of personal guard for, as far as I can tell, paranoia's sake. Mark, the dude I was talking to over there, nice chap, real gullible. But he says that they've just been standing out front, just taking shifts out front. Seems like easy money, so I think Toom and I might just hit them up for that and stay over there. Mr. Viridian seems to be under the impression that he's being like haunted by a ghost or something. He had a coworker that or a business partner that went off down the river and came back dead. And then was just a ghost person? Seems like a bunch of hogwash to me, but, you know.
I'm willing to believe anything at this point, if I'm completely honest.
That's fair.
How many
Same.
plagues is it
Same
going
as
to
Charlie.
take for you to understand that the physical things aren't the things you should fear, Nick?
I will sip on my ale awkwardly as I eye the two of them.
I mean, Polaris is so stoked that she just said that.
Tiny little fist bump.
Charlie is impressed by her saying that and like surprised.
Awkward silence falls over the table at that point then.
Well,
I learned what
That shows
angle
up.
to hold a stein as you pour ale into it. So
What do
that
we
might
use?
help at some point.
Usable. Yep.
Anyone need any drinks? It's a very awkward moment that settles over the table. Mash appears. Anyone need anything? Bang.
Nope. No.
Bang.
I'll have my shifty.
I'll take some match, actually.
All right. He looks at Persephone. One mash.
This man speaks to my heart.
And he says,
Persephone and Nash.
one mash.
That's all it takes to get in there. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
I will devour that mash.
So it seems to me
More
that
ferocity than you've seen me do anything.
seems to me that the first stop is to go for you to go have a chat with Dr. Phineas. See if we're invited inside. If not, that's perfectly fine having a one-on-one. I think that might be better actually in some ways. And then two, we were going to go down to the docks anyway to go check in on Katrine. And I was going to go down to the docks to hear about this ghost person, see if anybody else down there has heard of that.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'll ask Phineas about that as well, see if he has any information, perhaps.
I think
Go, while you're at it, if you could sell that armor and sword and give the money to Katrine so she has at least someone to stay for a bit longer.
Of course. Yeah, I know that Jean and Marie were going to go check in on her as well, but they're going to be moving on soon, so...
I think that I will go with Charlie to check on Dr. Phineas and tell him what I've learned, and we can do this all at the same time and meet back up.
Appreciate that. As much as I know about medicine, those things we're asking about are nothing I ever seen in medicine. More magic than my domain.
I'd like to
Well-
see his stocks as well.
The three of us together, we understand many aspects of, well, everything, so I think we should go together. And Nick, you understand armor, and you understand the things that you know, and you understand this little girl, so you should go and see her.
Danny, you take
All
me
right.
for someone who's good with kids.
And Danny, too.
I have no interest whatsoever in spending time with a child.
I rescind my previous comment.
Is there any reason why we can't do these both together?
What question
Not
are
particularly.
In the interest of time, I guess. We all
Sure.
are good at the things that we're good at, and we're, I guess, trying to hurry. We could change that.
Crowds draw attention.
Hmm.
I don't like to draw attention.
Point.
It's true. 6 folks walking into a doctor's office isn't overly
a little-
common unless you... Yeah.
Might look a little weird, that's for sure. We could all go together, and then some of us sort of hang around on the outside, right?
We could.
If we
And
run into
honestly,
an actual bad thing, a bad situation, we want to have backup there.
Well, I'm not so much worried about a bad situation inside of the city as I would be outside, and in the interest of time, it might be best to do the things that we're good at here and then meet back up with them and take that knowledge outside. I don't think we're in much danger here.
I am wary of splitting up again. The last time that happened, Luke died.
We've been apart all day. And we all survived.
I think that the city is different than the forest, full of obvious hauntings.
Agreed?
And we all have
no
different
city is
skills.
Safe, though.
Hmm.
Look,
All right.
let's just establish a place to meet up if things go wrong.
I think that's
I
a
Go
vote
good
back
right
idea.
here.
Mm-hmm.
Good idea. So, Team Doctor
And-
is going to be Charlie, Polaris, and assuming you can get the day off of work, Hilda.
I'm already off work.
Mhm.
She says
Well,
through
we're
a
going-
mouthful of mash.
I thought we were going tomorrow. What time is it?
It's late.
In the evening
tonight.
now. It's late. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So. And then
Matt.
Team.
Can I have the day off tomorrow?
Ooh. Why?
Errands.
Yeah. Doctor's appointment.
Okay. I'll be lonely. That's fine.
She would actually approach him and see if he needed any errands run for the bar.
Sure, you can like settle
Or while he was
anything
out.
that you might need to. Yeah, might need
Yeah,
to
she
do.
likes them. She likes them a
Okay.
lot.
All right, so then as Hilda and Mash clean up the bar and everyone else goes to sleep, that's quite a sweet image actually, the two of them just like cleaning down the bar for the evening as the fire roars for Bangers and Mash in the horse and mare. The rest of the party prepare for an adventure tomorrow. And looking at the time, it is 11 p.m., my friends. So we are just overtime, in fact. Time caught up with us today, unfortunately, and we are out of it. But hopefully, you guys have enjoyed today's adventure. I know I certainly had a great time watching you guys get up to your various different professions and skills and snooping around town, asking for this and that, and getting up to no good. So thank you again for you guys for watching there live on the Twitch stream. Thank you guys. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can subscribe, you can like, you can comment, you can do all of those things. Let's go around the cast and the crew as well. Did we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you wonderful folks online? Kimmy, first of all, talk to me. How was tonight's session for you?
That was great. I would love to see what a day in this sort of profession or these professions looks like for Danny.
Yeah.
Maybe she's
Definitely.
able to get some intel or something.
I think that'll be
characters
her
come
evening,
in
in
and out.
fact. Probably
Yeah.
after this conversation, because her work starts pretty late. So I think that would be interesting for us to pick up their next episode with Danny's exploits. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was awesome. I can be found on Twitter at MissKimmyD85.
Fantastic. And Speedy, same question, my friend.
Hello. This was fun. It's good to have an episode to almost relax in Penumbra. You don't get many of those. We've come to a safe place that I assume will stay safe for maybe one more episode maximum.
Forever.
I imagine. Yeah. That's my bet. Maybe two. But no, this is fun. I'm really glad. I'm interested to see because we're still slowly learning more about Persephone, and I think that Charlie is definitely really curious as to what her deal actually is. Because now she's a barmaid, but she also collects leeches, and that's a weird thing for a barmaid. Anyways, this was super fun. I can't wait for next week. I'm real curious about what this doctor's going to be up to. So, happy to be back for that. Other than that, I am Speedy. You can find me everywhere as Not So Speedruns on Twitch and Twitter. You can also check out the mental health streamer community that I help organize called Cast Together. That's at Cast Together on Twitter. You can join our Discord. Really supportive folks in there, and we do some really awesome charity streams and stuff like that. So definitely check it out. That's it. Thanks.
Fantastic. And Lydia, same questions.
I had so much fun. I've loved playing Zweihander. Things that I liked tonight were getting to know Mother Paulina and getting to understand like things that I can do in the city, having a degree and being a registered mage, and how I can use that. That's exciting. Maybe I'll use that in the future. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just end up in a haunted forest. I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. Anyways, I'm Lydia. You can follow me on Twitter at CastleMacLydia. You can see me on my Twitch channel with my family at twitch.tv/CastleMac. We play in real life D&D around a table, breathing human beings, and we do that every so often. You can check that out. I think that's it. I think that's all.
Fantastic. Awesome.
I'm bad at this. Thanks for asking.
Nailing it. So good. Killing it. Ruben.
Yeah, I had a good time. I think it's really awkward playing Nick. It's I don't know what to do with this character because this is an awkward skin suit to wear, where just sort of everyone's kind of reviled a little bit by you, at least a little bit. But it's interesting to try to play without being too much of the worst. If that makes sense. But we'll see how it goes going forward. Hi everybody, I'm Mox Ruby, MOXREUBY. You can follow me on all the social media channels using that handle. You can join me on Wednesday nights for the Magic Mike's podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Magic the Gathering. And this Sunday, you can catch me on Hyper RPG. They're having a 12-hour RPG stream marathon. I don't actually know what time I'm going to be on the channel, but I will be playing RPGs with them this coming Sunday for their new studio and new logo, their sort of rebrand marathon that they're having. So stay tuned to my social media channels for that.
Awesome, fantastic. And last but not least, Doxy.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Zero Doxy. You can find me here. And I just want to say really quickly that it is really a privilege to be playing with such talented people. And please don't hate me because of Persephone. I'm kind of a sucker for Will's characters, though. But so, like, because of MASH, I might be 20% witch, 80% bitch now. Will always writes lovable NPCs that I just am. 10%. I'm such a sucker for them every time. So thanks for inviting me, Will. I really love this. I love Persephone, even if she's the worst. And I really love being able to play with all of you. Chat, you're okay too. Call me.
Definitely. Pleasure to play with you as well, Doxy. I'm absolutely loving Persephone, and the Persephone and MASH mix-up is a match made in heaven.
I really like it. It's very Alice and
Bangers and
Frank.
mash.
I'm into it.
Oh dear, terrible stuff, but amazing. Love it. Cannot wait for next week, my friends. And if you haven't yet already checked out Zweihander, go to grimandperilous.com where you can pre-order their books on Amazon. You can go into Barnes & Nobles to get it. It's fantastic, and it's available everywhere. So go and check it out if you've been enjoying these streams. We'll be seeing you guys again tomorrow for the next live show, which is at 5 o'clock Eastern, I think. Goodness, I don't know. My brain, I've had a headache for the last hour, and I'm totally zonked out of it. But there are streams happening tomorrow. There's going to be a good times all around. I'll see you guys then. But until next time, try not throwing too many net ones. We want to be laughing when you do. And good night, everybody. Bye.